Chapter 1376. The fall of the four saints brought terror to the entire 16th level of the holy prison. Four life and death realm experts who had put all their strength into defense had actually been reduced to ashes by a single breath from the devil race. That wasn't some small fry, but a life and death saint at the 6th heaven true saint realm. Even if their defenses were broken, they would be heavily injured, or even killed. It was impossible for them to be frightened. However, being reduced to ashes in an instant, what kind of concept was that? Sweeping through mountains, rivers, sun, moon, and stars, annihilating life and death realm experts with a single breath. This man was practically invincible. My Lord is invincible. No one knew who was the first one to shout at the top of their lungs. They were so excited that they were shouting from the bottom of their hearts. At this moment it was simply too shocking. They would never forget it. The moment they became prisoners of the holy prison, they were tormented to the point where they wished they were dead. This scene was simply unimaginable to them. At this moment, all the powerful figures and experts who had followed Lin Chen were either kneeling on one knee in the void or shouting excitedly towards the sky. My Lord is mighty. My Lord is number one in the heavens. My Lord is invincible. My Lord is the strongest. Too damn strong. Did you see that? Did you see that? One breath. Just one breath. He didn't even lift a finger. What kind of heaven-defying method is that? Bastards of the holy prison, did you see that? One breath. One breath. One breath. F***CK. This daddy has never seen such a powerful man in my life. I'm going to chase after this man for sure. This daddy is convinced. Ah, this is too awesome. What kind of fortune did this daddy cultivate in my previous life to follow such a lord? Tyrannical. Fierce. I like it. I've said it. In an instant, Lin Chen had boosted everyone's morale and fighting spirit, igniting them to the highest point. Previously, there were many reasons for them to follow Lin Chen. Some were forced to do so, some were forced to choose, and some were forced to bet on Lin Chen's potential. But it was different now. They were sincerely convinced. From the bottom of their hearts, they had completely acknowledged Lin Chen as their lord. In fact, they were proud of him. Every expert of the 18th floor, if at their peak, could kill a life and death saint with a flip of their hand. This was not difficult at all. They could even imitate Lin Chen and kill him with a single breath. However, they would never be able to annihilate the opponent's saint body in an instant. These were two completely different concepts. What age was he? He already had such strength. If he was allowed to expand his acupoints, condense his condensation, break through life and death, and receive the stars, wouldn't he be a true dragon soaring into the sky, unstoppable? This kind of heaven-defying behavior had completely conquered all the servants. No one was unconvinced, and no one was not shocked. At this moment, in the hearts of all the servants, Lin Chen's figure had become unreachable, lofty, and imposing, like an insurmountable mountain. The 15th level's Hell Overlord's expression was extremely ugly as he gave the order. Everyone, listen up. Guard the 16th level of the Saint Prison with your lives. No one is allowed to retreat. Boom. Lin Chen's demonic aura surged violently. His figure moved, and with a turn of his feet, he shattered the void. His pure strength was like a violent dragon that swept through the sky. Wherever he passed, everything was swept away. The four prison guards who were guarding the portal felt their scalps explode. He's coming. This monster is coming towards us. Come with me. I don't believe that all of us can't defeat a demon like him. Don't be fooled by him. The stronger the power, the more you have to pay the price. I can't do it. How can a body-refining demon like him overturn the heavens? All of you, guard with your lives. No one is allowed to retreat. Boom, boom, boom. All the Hell Overlords stood at the forefront of the team. While consoling the hearts of the people, their power skyrocketed. A handsome and cold man rose from the void. Faint holy light floated in the air within a radius of 1,000,000 miles, like a feather fluttering in the wind as it spread its holy wings. An exquisite and beautiful figure bathed in millions of moonlight descended from the sky. The moonlight blocked everything in its path, and it was invincible. Streaks of sword light danced in the air like dragons, and the saber light was like the moon, hanging high in the sky. The bloody cross-shaped light scattered all over the sky, blocking Lin Chen's path of advance. Regardless of whether it was a life-saving sacred artifact or a secret cultivation technique, he used all of them to block Lin Chen's attack. The 4 Hell Overlords had used all their trump cards. Follow the Hell Overlords and annihilate this demon. He's only one demon. Let's concentrate our attacks. The Hell Overlords regrouped, and none of them retreated. Let's not let that guy succeed. A streak of saber light slashed across the sky like a dancing dragon. Pan Yunlong ordered all the Saint Heart Realm subordinates to pursue Lin Chen closely. The 4 Hell Overlords were in front of him, and Pan Yunlong and the rest were closing in on him from behind. Lin Chen seemed to be surrounded by enemies from both sides, and there was no way for him to retreat. Let's go and help the Lord. The experts on the 18th floor wanted to move, but Jiang Taishu stood in front of them and shouted in a low voice, "Don't act rashly. Trust the Lord." Jiang Taishu stared at Lin Chen's back as he spoke with a trembling expression on his face. "I have a feeling that the Lord will lead us to break out of the encirclement. Just follow his orders." Swoosh! Lin Chen was the first to arrive in front of the 4 teams of Hell Overlords as the wind whistled through the air. What a good defensive formation! But break it! Lin Chen turned in the air, and his leg fell like a meteor. His pure strength gathered on his attack, and he directly collided with the formation of the entire defensive team. Bang! Boom! When he unleashed his pure strength, a golden light flashed through the monstrous demonic energy. His battle prowess was unstoppable, and he was invincible. The golden light was like a war spear that pierced through the sky, piercing through the defensive formation of the 4 Hell Overlords. The cultivation of the 4 Hell Overlords was between the middle and late stages of the Saint Heart Realm, between 75 to 77 Saint Point. Lin Chen's current strength was close to the pinnacle of the Saint Heart Realm. The strength of his attack was just enough to break the formation of the 4 Hell Overlords, forcing them to retreat. Although the formation was broken, they were not injured. Buzz! Buzz! The space roared, and the space around the space door distorted violently, forming an unprecedented golden hurricane hole. And in the center of this hole was Lin Chen's fist. The 4 Hell Overlords' hearts skipped a beat. That punch was his trump card. Oh no! The 4 of them instinctively activated their strongest defense. The Hell Overlords had just come back to their senses, but they were a beat too slow. Lin Chen suddenly swung his fist. This punch was filled with divine light, and its battle prowess broke through the sky. This punch was like millions of volcanoes erupting, and a divine dragon soaring, breaking through the barriers of the plains. All the light in the entire 16th level of the holy dungeon seemed to be absorbed into the shining golden fist, and it quickly destroyed the 4 Hell Overlords. The pure strength was like a wild dragon, sweeping away the clouds, and making the world lose its color. It swept through 3,000 planes, and the planes were destroyed. Those below the Saint Heart Realm were penetrated by this force. When the saint body was injured, the vitality of the saint body would stop abruptly and collapse. This was the moment when life and death were decided by this punch. Those who could completely block the attack of this punch would be able to survive. If even a little bit of defense was penetrated, the moment the saint body was injured, they would be killed instantly. Boom, boom, boom. Dust and sand filled the sky, and space was turned upside down. Everyone saw a flash of golden light, and then their vision was drowned. Endless roars echoed in their ears. When everyone looked again, they were instantly stunned. What entered their eyes was a faint golden divine light, which paved a golden path that led to the broken space door and extended into the space passage. Other than the 4 prison masters who were sent flying, no one else from the 4 prison guards survived. Only one person stood upright on the golden divine light path. His lips curled into an evil smile, and he silently raised his thumb, pointing at the space passage at the end of the golden light path. Everyone's heart trembled. 1 punch to kill 100 saints. Chapter 1377. 100 saints were annihilated with a single punch. They were reduced to ashes, and not even a speck of dust was left. None of these 100 saints were lower than the life and death realm. More than 28th level Saint Heart realm experts had died in the battle. Apart from the 4 Hell Overlords, none of them survived. Even an ordinary 9th layer Saint or Heaven Opening Realm expert could not achieve this. It was almost impossible to annihilate 100 saints in a single move. This was the terrifying part of the heaven-defying realm's innate talent. Either one could block the attack without being injured, or be injured and killed instantly. It was a true life and death battle. Seeing his lord bathing in divine light, Fong Ling, who was always calm, was filled with excitement and fanaticism. It seems that we have followed an invincible lord. If we are too weak, we will be a burden to the Lord. The black-haired girl stared at the figure under the golden divine light in a daze. It was as if he alone could hold up heaven and earth. What are you waiting for? The Lord has opened up a passage for us. Let's go. Jiang Taishu's rare excited shout was understood by many experts. They activated their movement techniques and moved in the direction of the spatial door. The large group that was chasing Lin Chen slowed down. No matter how strong their state of mind was, it was impossible for them to remain calm in the face of this punch. It was too terrifying. Could they really defeat this guy? If this fist were to land on them, how many of them would be able to survive? Thinking of this, many life and death realm and star realm experts could not help but take a few steps back subconsciously. Damn it, how can we fight this? I can fight with my life, but it doesn't mean that I want to die. It's obvious that we can't win this battle, but we still want to fight? Damn it, where did this monster come from? Didn't they say that high-level Saint Demon Kings are not enough to cross the entrance between Devil Prison and Saint Prison? While many experts were hesitating, Pan Yunlong roared angrily. You know the consequences of retreating. Don't let this dog have his way. I can kill him with a single slash. On the other side, Little Shadow excitedly enveloped Lin Chen's holy dragon, eliminating its aura. The holy dragon roamed the void, collecting a sea of attribute light balls. Host has received 4,008 billion high-grade essence points, 6 billion cultivation technique essence points, 2 billion spiritual power points, 2 billion spiritual power points, 1 billion rune energy points, 1 billion heavenly Tao points. With the fall of the 100 saints, the number of attribute light balls Lin Chen obtained was much more than what he had stolen before. Jiang Taishu rushed to Lin Chen's side and said, My lord, we've achieved our goal. Let's retreat while they're hesitating. Lang Fanyun arrived and said solemnly, Yes, my lord, let's retreat now and fight our way up. They won't have a chance to stop us even if they want to. The main force of the holy prison is already gathered here. Lin Chen didn't even turn his head. He waved his hand and smiled. Your goal has been achieved, but mine hasn't. You guys go first, I'll bring up the rear. I'm going to block all of them here and destroy them all in one go. Lin Chen's words were shocking. Even the strongest 17 experts, other than the unconscious Qi Fian, couldn't help but twitch their mouths when they heard Lin Chen's words. Their lord really didn't play by the rules. Destroy these prison guards? Even if the 4 prison guard teams were destroyed, there were still more than 360 Saint Realm experts among the prison guards. Among them, there were 30 experts with Saint Heart Realm experts. Most importantly, with the 15th and 16th levels Hell Overlord Pan Yunlong holding the fort, even a heaven-opening realm expert wouldn't be able to destroy all of them easily. Lin Chen's actions seemed crazy, but in reality they were the best choice. My heaven-defying technique can only last for a limited time. If I let these guys live, they will definitely become a variable. Without the heaven-defying technique, just the 15th level's Hell Overlord will be able to hold me back. Moreover, destroying them will give me more attribute points than stealing prisoners from the holy prison. Xiao. Pan Yunlong used some unknown method to unify all of his teams, and all of them charged over with no fear of death. My lord, it'll be too late if we don't leave now. Xiao Ling was burning with anxiety. Just as she was about to pull Lin Chen away, Lin Chen didn't even give the others time to be surprised. In a flash, he arrived at the lowest level of the 16th level of the holy prison. He stretched out his hands and condensed pure energy. It was like an ancient giant palm clamping down and holding the entire 16th level of the holy prison. The greater the dragon power, the stronger the strength. The most important thing was the control of the power. Just like how Lin Chen could use pure energy to display a speed that was not inferior to the top movement techniques, the realm of the body refining technique not only increased the strength, but also the control of the power. Long Jiushan, who had just stepped into the space passage, was shocked when he saw Lin Chen's move. Long Jiushan was so excited that his teeth chattered. It can't be. Is my lord going to do that? Boom, boom, boom. Heaven and earth roared, the wind and clouds changed color, and all the light dimmed. Lin Chen's pure energy had reached the peak, and the azure light in his golden eyes suddenly flashed. Get up for this handsome guy. At that moment the golden light dazzled the world. Lin Chen's hands burst out with nearly 200 trillion dragon power, and he suddenly lifted them up. Ka. Bang, bang, bang. Rumble. The airflow whistled like a knife, and the ground cracked and exploded. All the saints felt that the world had turned upside down, and they were dizzy. They felt that they had lost their balance, and all of them were forced to stop. Some were even blown away by the broken corpses that suddenly shot out. It was as if they were standing on a carpet that had suddenly been flipped over. In the void there were endless fragments and meteorites. Some were as large as mountains and rivers, and many of the prison guards who had somersaulted were a little confused. What happened? What did that demon do? I only saw darkness in front of my eyes and I was knocked away. What happened? Are there any casualties in your teams? Reporting to Prison Master, no. But our team has been scattered. Where are our people? Where did they go? Heaven and earth returned to chaos. Space was upside down, mountains and rivers were broken, and the 16th level of the holy prison was full of huge rocks and meteorite-like fragments. The majestic group of prison guards was destroyed by this sudden storm, and the entire group was thrown into disarray. Only Pan Yunlong and the hemp-clothed old man were the first to react. When they saw the huge rock fragments in front of them that were as large as continental plates, their eyes trembled. The powerful figures standing in front of the broken space were even more shocked. This lord's way of doing things was simply beyond common sense. He did not follow the conventional way of thinking at all. Pan Yunlong's mouth trembled. He actually overturned the entire 16th level of the holy prison. Our team has been completely disrupted. The hemp-clothed old man felt as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. As if he had thought of something, he immediately shouted a voice transmission. Everyone be on guard. This demon wants to defeat us one by one. As soon as he finished, bang. The earth-shattering explosion was endless, and the aura of the 3-star realm prison guards completely disappeared. This demon is here. Chapter 1378. Whoosh. Bam. 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 Lin Chen's fist was like a real dragon flying into the sky, piercing the stars and splitting the meteors. The wind from his fist hit the 4-star realms, and the moment they were injured, they were instantly converted into attribute values. Heaven-defying talent triggered. Target killed instantly. Little Shadow seemed to have become the most professional scavenger. It would go wherever Lin Chen's Saint Dragon willed it to go, absorbing all the attribute light balls and attribute treasure chests into its body. Host opened the Supreme Treasure Chest and received the orange-grade talent enhancer. Received 12. 1 billion high-grade ability essence, 1209, 1 billion high-grade chi and blood, 2 billion fire-type energy. Lin Chen's attributes soared all the way. However, his cultivation didn't reveal the slightest bit, and the Tai space was sealed tightly. Damn demon! The 2 Saint Heart Realm prison guards wielded 6th-grade Saint Blades and slashed out a blade aura that was hundreds of thousands of feet long. It was curved like a crescent moon, spanning thousands of miles, splitting the continental plate and slashing toward Lin Chen. Rip! Lin Chen turned around and lashed out with a whip kick. When the blade aura exploded with a sonic boom, his body moved like a flash of light and a golden shadow. Lin Chen smashed through countless drifting gravel and charged toward the 2. When the 2 wanted to fight with Lin Chen by force, he kicked across the air. The golden radiance was dazzling like a falling star, shattering the 2 Saint Heart Realm guards' defenses. When the pure power penetrated their weapons, the power tore through their flesh and blood, and the 2 vomited blood. Heaven-defying talent triggered. Target killed instantly. When the 2 vomited blood, their faces were filled with disbelief. How is this possible? I'm just injured and I'm dying just like that. Is this why the others lost to this demon? What kind of power is this? I'm a Saint Heart Realm cultivator. How can I die if my Saint Heart is not broken? Everything they had on them had melted away, and even the 2 rare weapons had turned into set essence attribute points. Before they died, the 2 Saint Heart Realm guards couldn't solve the doubts in their hearts. How could there be such a terrifying killing method in the mortal world that could injure and kill a Saint Heart Realm cultivator? The biggest difference between the Saint Heart Realm and the Star Receiver Realm was not only strength, but also tenacious vitality. As long as his Saint Heart remained intact, he would never die. This was also the reason why Pan Yunlong was able to recover quickly and continue fighting after being shot by Qi Fian's arrow and having a huge hole in his chest. The only thing that was consumed was his saint energy and the vitality of his saint body. Lin Chen sped through the 18th level of the holy prison, activating his dragon force and transforming into a bolt of golden lightning. Boom, 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 bang, bang, bang. Every time Lin Chen punched out, a terrifying dragon force would sweep through the sky. His aura was so domineering that it looked down on the world. Every time his attack hit his opponent, at least one Saint Realm expert would die. His momentum was so strong that it was simply unstoppable. Even a Saint Realm expert would find it difficult to resist his attack. As long as his second attack broke through their defense, they would die on the spot. In addition, Lin Chen overturned the continental plates of the 16th level of the holy prison with all his strength, instantly throwing the team into chaos and catching them off guard. His perfect Saint Realm mental energy and the mental energy awakening brought about an extremely fast speed. It allowed him to lock onto his opponents faster in a chaotic situation and launch a surprise attack with all his strength. Those who were not Saint Heart Realm experts in the later stage could not withstand more than a few rounds. At the spatial passage, Xiao Ling covered her red lips with her white hand, her eyes filled with shock. If she had not seen it with her own eyes, she would not have believed it. This slaughter of Star Receiver Realm experts, and even Saint Heart Realm experts, was like killing chickens. Throughout the history of the Sacred Boundary, there were not many battles that were so tragic. Saint Heart Realm experts were already at the top of the Sacred Boundary, but in front of Lin Chen, they still did not have much power to resist. Fong Ling, did you see that? The speed at which the Lord killed those Saint Heart Realm experts. As Lang Fanyun protected the spatial passage, an unprecedented shock brewed under his calm expression. I saw it. To be fair, if we were at our peak, it would not be difficult for us to defeat Saint Heart Realm experts. But if we want to kill them and completely annihilate them, we would have to put in some effort. Fong Ling said seriously. When the two of them looked at each other, they could see the shock in each other's eyes. That's right, in a certain aspect, their current lord was even stronger than them at their peak. He could kill any god or saint that stood in his way. In Lin Chen's violent battle, every strike was at full strength. The energy consumption of his three-piece god of war set was unprecedentedly fast. Almost every punch would reduce the energy consumption. After a dozen punches, the energy consumption would decrease by about 1%. However, because of the saint artifacts on the prison guards' bodies, the effect of the heaven-defying talent was triggered when the saint artifacts on the prison guards fell. When the owner died, the set attribute essence would quickly replenish the energy consumption. Ha 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 ha, awesome! Aren't you prison guards very fierce? Don't you like to play with the lives of criminals? Come on, come and play with me, the handsome one? Wanton, wild, and domineering, Lin Chen fully displayed the characteristics of the demon clan. Other than the faintly flickering golden light and the god of war's might that could destroy the heavens, he was just like an ancient giant demon. Bang! With one punch, he shattered the Saint Heart Realm expert's shocking palm, shattering even the Saint Bone. Rip! With one kick, he crushed the airwaves and tore apart the defenses of several Star Realm experts. Blood splattered everywhere. Those who were injured by it all perished. Lin Chen fought from the east to the south of the 16th floor. Everywhere he passed, there were no survivors. Saint Slaughter, and Saint Slaughter. He killed until the sky turned dark. He killed all the way. In less than a quarter of an hour, more than 200 Saint Realm experts had fallen. This number was shocking to the eye. Damn thing, die for me. I've never met such a strange demon in my life. Today, even if I don't care about the guy who broke out of prison, I'll destroy you. When the terrifying roar came, it filled the sky and the earth. Lin Chen narrowed his eyes. Chi! Bang! When the floating continent cracked open, holy light filled the sky like a silver waterfall. Over 100 Saint Realm cultivators stood in rows, surrounding Lin Chen. It was as if they were encircling a top-tier Saint Demon King in a great battle in the primordial era. Among the 100 Saint Realm experts, there were the 4 prison masters, the hemp-clothed old man, and Pan Yun Long who had just survived. As long as the 6 of them were still here, the other party still had the strength to fight. This body-refining demon is very strange. Don't go rashly. As long as you're not injured, he can't kill us. The 2 of us will fight head-on. I don't believe that he can maintain his invincible state for long. There's a price to pay for the power that's beyond common sense. Surround him and fight a war of attrition. The 6 Hell Masters were indeed experts who had fought against the Devil Clan for many years. Their eyes were sharp and ruthless. They had already seen through the mystery of how Lin Chen killed his opponent when many saints died and sacrificed themselves. As long as they were not injured, they could fight with him. The personal experience of the 4 prison masters had verified this possibility. Chapter 1379. Rumble. Rip. The light of the blade was like the moon sweeping across thousands of miles. Lin Chen unleashed his dragon aura and punched toward Pan Yun Long and the old man. However, what followed was an overwhelming wave of attacks. All kinds of saint power attacks were focused on Lin Chen alone. Even Lin Chen would have to avoid the attack of over 100 Sage Realm experts. Whoosh! Little dark shadow passed through the void and grabbed Lin Chen. The terrifying wave of attacks missed and shattered several continental plate fragments floating in the void. Bang! 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 For a moment, Pan Yunlong and the old man in sackcloth attacked Lin Chen fiercely, making him unable to get close to them. Even if Lin Chen got close, the other 4 prison masters would defend with all their might. In addition to the independent saint power protection of the other prison guards, it was equivalent to having 2 layers of protection. Lin Chen only needed to break through 1 layer of protection to expose himself and be chased by Pan Yunlong and the old man. It was an endless cycle. Huddling together like an iron bucket, huh? Quite tough. I can't fight a protracted battle with them. Let's end it quickly. Lin Chen was about to unleash the killer move that he had been accumulating for a long time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A series of whooshing sounds came, and 16 beams of saint power descended. Fong Ling and the others had all arrived. The 16 people on the 19th level stood in a row beside Lin Chen. Lin Chen couldn't help but be annoyed. Didn't I tell you to yo-yo first? F***ck, why did you come back? How can you fight on the front lines while we, the servants, hide behind you? Ha ha, seeing my lord overturn the 16th level of the holy dungeon, my hands are also itching. How can I tolerate this? Didn't you tell me to take off my underwear halfway before entering the bridal chamber? Forgive me for not being able to comply. Long Jiushan and the others laugh. They were sincerely convinced by the way they called themselves servants. Lin Chen was helpless. He really couldn't stand these guys. Then be careful. Help me tear an opening in their battle. I have a way to deal with them. With Zhou Tian's heaven's death seal connected to their spiritual sea, everyone had a tacit understanding of each other. Their battle tactics could be said to have been completed in an instant, and they all took action. Pan Yunlong's face slightly changed as he berated, "Don't underestimate them just because they are injured. Be careful of these monsters." Whoosh! Unexpectedly, Lin Chen took the initiative to meet Pan Yunlong and the hemp-garbed old man head-on. His pure strength was pushed to the limit, and the 3-piece set's energy was rapidly depleted. His leg was like a battle axe as it chopped down. Tsk. Rip. Lin Chen angrily smashed down with his leg. It was like a stream of light that divided the sun and moon, chiseling open the heavens and earth. The 2 of them met each other head-on. While maintaining their defenses, they also attacked with their palms and sabers, splitting the heavens and splitting the earth. They collided with Lin Chen's pure strength. Tsk. Bang. A terrifying explosion filled the heavens and earth. Lin Chen was forced back 1,000 miles, blood flowing from the corners of his mouth. In a situation where he couldn't break through their defenses, his pure strength was at most equal to Pan Yunlong's. It was easy for him to be at a disadvantage in a 1-on-2 fight. However, the moment Lin Chen was forced back, a gap was opened in the prison guards team. Their 2-layered defense was broken for the first time. Change the field. Little Shadow carried Lin Chen. With pure strength and shadow-traversing void, Lin Chen's speed was extremely fast as he swept toward the prison guards team. Want to run? No way. Pan Yunlong and the other rode on their cloud dragons and flashed, wanting to block Lin Chen. Boom, boom, boom. The 2 of them were blocked by the holy light. Their opponents were instantly changed to Jiang Taishu, Fong Ling, Lang Fanyun, and the rest of the 12. They were just enough to stall them. As for the other 4 servants, it was better to deal with the 4 Hellmasters. Although this injured body couldn't defeat the 4 Hellmasters, it was completely possible to stall for time. Taking advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, Lin Chen rushed into the prison guards team and threw a series of punches and kicks. Every time, he used nearly 200 trillion dragon power. He was invincible and unstoppable. Lin Chen seemed to have turned into a golden flash, shuttling back and forth. In a few breaths' time, the fist waves reached everyone. Some blocked it, but some had their defenses broken and their holy bodies injured. Crack, crack, crack. Their holy bodies cracked. When the defenses of many life and death and star realms were broken, their holy bodies began to turn into dust, turning into attribute light balls and scattering. There were still dozens of late-stage star realms and above who could barely resist Lin Chen's pure strength. System: activate Super Chaos. The host has triggered Super Chaos 42 times on 34 target. 5 billion talent points have been consumed. All activated. Buzz buzz buzz. Many of the surviving Saint Realm experts felt their scalps go numb. What's wrong with my holy point? My holy power is completely mixed up. Why is it out of control? Does the demon race have such a divine ability? My spiritual power. How is it possible? My spiritual power is at the profound Saint Rudiment realm. How can I not sense the aura nearby? Everything was in a mess. More than half of the star realms and Saint Heart realms were like poisoned curses. They either lost control of their blood chi, spiritual power, or holy point cultivation. Die. Lin Chen's eyes flashed fiercely. He stomped his foot and a golden light flashed out. He rushed forward, shrouded in shadows along the way. Taking advantage of this opportunity, he blew up all the saints who were in the super chaos state, penetrating the enemy's defense, activating the heaven-defying instant kill effect. Penetrating the enemy's defense, activating the heaven-defying instant kill effect. The situation of the battle changed almost instantaneously. In just a few breaths, a large number of experts fell. The 6 prison masters' hearts twitched when they saw this. It was not that they had no resistance just because they had the super chaos talent. This was a misconception. Even with the interference of the super chaos talent, the 7th-level star realms and 8th-level Saint Heart realms could still exert most of their combat strength. However, their opponents were beyond common sense and extraordinary. It could be said that facing Lin Chen, they died with unprecedented grievances. If they were even slightly injured, they would be turned into ashes by Lin Chen. They had no chance to fight back at all. This time, he was so powerful that it was simply against the heavens. Bang, bang, bang. Fei Wuxuang, Xiao Ling and Yu Wangxing were the first to be broken through by the 3 prison masters. They were injured again. After all, to the 3 of them, combat was not their strongest point. Lord, be careful! The 3 of them exclaimed in unison. Lin Chen had already prepared his next trump card. 3 prison masters, huh? Good. Ha, try this. Lin Chen pushed his left hand across the air, and a grayish-white light flashed. Chi. Rumble! At this moment, the gray light shrouded heaven and earth. Everyone's heart was inexplicably shrouded in a layer of haze and fear. It was as if some apocalypse had arrived. Host consumed 1,060 billion points of high-grade rune energy to activate the slowdown rune. An enormous grayish-white talisman that covered the heavens and the earth like the sun, moon, and stars descended from the sky and completely exploded. At this moment, the entire 16th level of the Saint Prison was frozen and stagnant. Whether it was the criminals on the 16th level who had yet to escape or the powerful figures, prison guards and prison masters who were deep in the fierce battle, they all felt a fatal threat. Their movements, meridians, saint acupoints, and even consciousness became especially slow and sluggish. They were as slow as a turtle. Slowdown rune. That's right, this was one of Lin Chen's ultimate trump cards. The slowdown rune that was activated with 1,060 billion points of high-grade rune energy. Chapter 1380. In the past, when Lin Chen fought with saints above the Aperture Expansion realm, he rarely used the slowdown rune. It wasn't that the slowdown rune was useless, but that the realms above the Aperture Expansion realm were very special. The saint power stored in each saint aperture was too large, and it was extremely difficult to completely freeze the saint power in the saint aperture. If he mobilized a large amount of rune energy to freeze the opponent for a moment, it would be very inefficient. Lin Chen's main rune energy was still used to make up for the phantom doppelganger. However, once the amount was enough, it would cause a qualitative change. The 1060 billion points of rune energy was the majority of the rune energy Lin Chen had accumulated from slaying countless saints. This slowing rune was able to seal the fate of anyone below the heaven-opening realm. If this slowdown rune was used on the 9 provinces continent, it would be enough to freeze all the trillions of creatures in the 9 provinces continent for more than 10 years. They wouldn't be able to move for 10 years. Just thinking about it made one's hair stand on end. To put it bluntly, at this moment, Lin Chen was the master of the entire 16th level of the Saint Prison. All the space in the 16th level of the Saint Prison was frozen by him. Apart from him, the movements of all the saints were restricted by at least 50%. Now, let's see how you're going to defend against this wave. Lin Chen activated Little Shadow. He didn't even bother to retrieve the elemental light balls that he had used to kill life and death and star-receiving realm experts. Riding the golden shadow, he closed in on all the prison guards with his fists. When the last remaining prison guard was penetrated by the fist wind, he died with his eyes wide open in disbelief. I'm not willing to accept this. I can't believe I died in the hands of the demon race who leads these lowly criminals. How many tricks does this demon race have? Is my impenetrable saint prison going to be broken again? There's still a lord guarding behind. You can't escape. Many prison guards didn't even have time to escape before they were annihilated and turned into ashes. Lin Chen beat them all the way until he arrived in front of the 4 prison masters. No, demon race, you can't kill me. I'm a prison master. Lin Chen sneered. Prison your head? Rip. When he swung his fist, it pierced through his defense and saint weapon. The terrifying force penetrated through the sun and moon and penetrated his chest, causing a prison master to vomit blood. The prison master of the 11th level was killed. Following that, Lin Chen's fists were like dragons, hammering the remaining 3 hell overlords to death. Not a single one of them was spared. Attribute light balls were scattered all over the ground. Under the influence of the slowing rune, the strength they could unleash was too limited. Before they could react, they were killed by Lin Chen. This was the terrifying part of the innate talent of a heaven defier. As long as there was a weakness realm expert, they would die. Our Lord is really a god. I've never seen or heard of demon races. Spatial stagnation that is infinitely close to the time limit is too terrifying. Level demon realm was. Dead time realm of the realm, they of was realm, was. The sharpness in Lin Chen's eyes increased. There was no way out. The slowdown rune was one of his trump cards. Saints above the acupoint expansion realm would recognize it the second time he used it. In other words, if he used the slowdown rune, he would have to kill everyone. Otherwise, if he used the slowdown rune outside the holy prison, he would be in danger of exposing his identity. He's coming for us. Damn it, prepare to self-destruct. Leave your spiritual power and fight with him. While Pan Yunlong and the old man were going crazy, Lin Chen's pupils suddenly trembled. He and Little Dark Shadow retreated a long distance at the same time. Pan Yunlong and the old man in the hemp garment were fighting for their lives, but the next moment, they were stunned. Poochie! Rip! Their divine bodies were torn apart like paper. Even the space of the 16th level that Lin Chen had frozen with the slowdown rune was torn apart by a force that could tear heaven and earth apart. What's this aura? Jiang Taishu and the others felt their scalps tingle. They instantly flashed to Lin Chen's side, looking unprecedentedly serious. I've never seen such a strong devil chi. Could it be that those damn things below have come out of their cages? The 16 people's expressions were extremely serious. Even when they were in a desperate situation, they didn't show such expressions. In the space in front of them, there was a deep devil chi abyss. Strangely, a fair-skinned young man appeared in the abyss. He casually tore Pan Yun Long and the old man in the hemp garment apart. He was so ruthless that he killed them with one blow. They didn't even have a chance to recover. Between his eyebrows and neck, there were gray eyeballs rotating. After the flesh and blood of the two men were torn apart, the two fiendish pythons on the young man's shoulders spat out their tongues and swallowed the remains of their divine bodies. The young man licked his lips evilly. Two divine hearts, just as an appetizer. His eyes were very strange, as if they were absorbing all the light in the world. Lin Chen's heart trembled inexplicably. This young man was very strange. He was not a human. Moreover, he was terrifyingly strong. System prompt. The automatic activation of the innate talent Stealing Omen has failed. Unable to steal attribute values from the target. Reason: the target's cultivation is too high. The system screen that popped up caused Lin Chen to suck in a breath of cold air. Where did this guy come from? The number of times he failed to steal attribute values is very few. The last time he failed was when he failed to activate it on Yaoer. Lin Chen didn't expect that he would enter the tiger's den after killing his way out of the wolf's den. His heaven-defying innate talent didn't have much time left. Boom, boom, boom. 10 powerful demons descended beside the young man and knelt on one knee. The evil fair-skinned young man glanced at everyone and finally his eyes fell on Lin Chen. The fair-skinned young man smiled evilly. "You're not a demon, right?" Lin Chen was shocked. Who was this person? He saw through his disguise at a glance? This was a divine ability that even Fong Ling and the rest couldn't see through. Your disguise is very clever, using demonic energy to cover your entire body's blood and bones without clashing with the Saint Cave to create the perfect body of a demon. The fair-skinned young man's voice was slow and unhurried. There was a kind of supreme majesty between his eyebrows. His tone was as if he was pointing out the world. However, I'm one of the origins of the demon race. You want to pretend to be a demon in front of me? In the words of you humans, this is showing off your slight skill in front of an expert. You have that woman's scent on you. She helped you enter here, right? Lin Chen frowned. Who are you? Ha 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 ha. The young man laughed at the sky. You can kill your way into the Saint Prison, so you can be considered a top figure of the human race. You're barely qualified to know my name. My name is Heaven's Burial. I've eaten many of your human race's Saint Kings in the past. Lin Chen's pupils trembled. This guy had eaten Saint Kings before. Chapter 1381. In a dragon palace on the first level of the Saint Prison. The golden-armored man opened his eyes, and a vertical eye as dazzling as the sun opened between his eyebrows. It was as if he could see through the endless void. A moment later, his expression was extremely calm, and under that calmness, there was anger and bewilderment. They were all annihilated. Among all the prison masters and prison guards below the 5th level, it seems that only Tai Xiaocheng is still alive. The golden-armored man stood up, and his aura was invincible. It was as if he was going to split open the sky. His figure rose like the sun, and when he stood up, the sunlight shone on the first level of the Saint Prison, illuminating heaven and earth. No matter how many people come, I can still annihilate all of you in the first level of the Saint Prison. This is the strongest prison in heaven and earth, and it's not something that you people who are about to die can break through. Rumble. Responding to the golden-armored man, the first level of the Saint Prison was surrounded by a vast array. It was as if balls of suns were floating in the sky, and its aura was like a holy light. It was undefeatable. The first level of the Saint Prison had the last 3 layers of protection left behind by the true God. Even a Saint King would die if he tried to break through. The situation on the 16th level of the Saint Prison had changed drastically, and it was beyond everyone's expectations. Demon. Demon Emperor. It's the famous Demon Emperor. He's a supreme being, Some of the criminals on the 16th level, who had not managed to escape in time, could not help but gulp. Every demon emperor of the demon race was rarely recorded in the history of the human race. It was rumored that they were existences that could rival the gods of the human race. If the demon emperor came in person, it would not be so simple. He would cause the space in the saint prison to be unbalanced. This demon emperor was most likely just a clone. Even if it was just a clone, it was an existence that was far beyond common sense. Killing a saint would be as easy as picking up grass. When Demon Emperor Tianzong announced his name, Fang Ling and Lang Fanyun stood in front of Lin Chen. All the saint points in his body were shining brightly, and his aura was soaring. His expression was calm and determined. "Miss Wushuang and Miss Ling please escort the Lord out. We won't be leaving." Fang Ling's eyes were sharp, and his cultivation that had been suppressed for a long time finally began to be released. At the same time, his life was like a candle in the wind. "The two of you, Xiao Ling was horrified. They were completely going to fight to the death. The opponent this time was unprecedentedly difficult to deal with. Unless all of them were at their peak, there was no chance of survival." "Fang Ling, don't act recklessly." Lin Chen placed a hand on Fang Ling's shoulder, his gaze cold. The situation might be grim, but it wasn't the most desperate time yet. As long as the heaven-defying talent didn't last until the last second, anything could happen. "System, break down all the sacred weapons in my hands now." Analyzing the spoils of war obtained by the host, Lin Chen's set essence attribute increased once again. Little Shadow seemed to have a mind of its own as it left his body and cooperated with Lin Chen's holy dragon to take away the other attribute light balls. "Oh? You want to fight me to the death?" Heaven Burial Demon Emperor smiled and said, "Don't worry. Why don't you listen to my opinion?" Heaven Burial Demon Emperor narrowed his eyes as if he had sensed Little Shadow's location. He frowned and muttered, "Demon Clan? Or the Dragon Clan? And that innate Shadow's stench." However, he didn't take it to heart. He smiled confidently, as if he had absolute confidence in controlling the world. "Even if you left because of the guys in the lower 3 levels, and now that you've defeated the prison keeper of the sacred prison, it's impossible for you to break through the first level of the sacred prison. Even if you do break through and return to the human race's sacred boundary, you'll just be a stray dog." The Demon Emperor's eyes shone with a demonic light. "Instead of that, why don't you submit to me? I'll let all of you enjoy the same treatment as the highest Demon King. I'll also heal your wounds and restore you to your peak. What do you think? It's impossible for you to even improve your cultivation. With your potential, it's very possible, isn't it? The Demon Clan has been planning for eons, but the human race's true gods are in constant internal strife. The sacred boundary will belong to the Demon Clan sooner or later. When the time comes, you'll help me conquer the sacred boundary, and the sacred boundary will belong to you. Why don't you follow me and complete the most important task?" Tianzong Demon Emperor's tone was sincere. "You're the most elite geniuses of the human race, but they treat you like this. Why should you risk your lives for the human race? The gods have abandoned all life, and the demons will save the world. Serve this emperor. Ha 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 ha." Suddenly, Fang Ling, Lang Fanyun, and the others burst into laughter. Even Heaven Destruction Earth Devastator, who usually didn't smile, showed a mocking smile. Jiang Taishu shook his head and laughed. "Demon Emperor, do we look like fools to you?" Heaven Burial Demon Emperor maintained his smile and didn't show any killing intent. He looked like he was here to make peace. He smiled and said, "No, you don't. I believe you're all smart people." Yun Tianguang sneered. "You might be able to trick those fools from the demon race, but you can't trick us. From the moment we acknowledge the Lord as our master, we don't acknowledge any of the gods in the sacred boundary. With my Lord there are no gods." the demon emperor was a little moved by their determination. He was moved not because he had failed to recruit them, but because these arrogant humans had actually acknowledged him as their master? Master? The devil emperor's gaze shifted, staring at Lin Chen. Suddenly, he laughed, "With just you?" Lin Chen stepped forward and smiled evilly. "Yes, me. You don't agree? Say it. I won't change it anyway." Everyone was speechless. Their lord was really fearless. He even dared to joke around with the demon emperor. Consumed 9.2 billion heavenly path points. Complete decomposition. Host received 340 million set essence. Beginning charging of the God of War set. Ultimate right arm armor. 4. 8%, 4, 9%. Ultimate right leg armor. 4. 3%. 4, 4%. The charging of Lin Chen's God of War set continued to soar. At this moment, the weather suddenly changed. Boundless demonic energy transformed the sacred prison into a demon prison. With the sky-burying demon emperor as the center, an endless vortex appeared. He shook his head and sighed. "Sigh, looks like our negotiation has failed. I will ask you one last time. Will you submit to me? I will only accept one answer." Boom, boom, boom. The 10 holy demon kings blocked everyone's path of retreat from 10 directions. "I will try my best to open a way out. The two of you must break out with the Lord." Long Jiushan's Saint Physique was vaguely accumulating energy as he transmitted his voice to the two girls. "Stop talking nonsense." At this moment, Lin Chen interrupted everyone. He stood alone in front of them and shouted, "I have said that all of you have to get out of here alive." Rays of golden divine light broke through the demonic energy vortex. Lin Chen's fighting spirit instantly broke through the demonic energy's encirclement. Lin Chen looked directly at the demon emperor. His sharp eyes were filled with domineering intent. "What kind of dog**T demon emperor is this? I will destroy him." Chapter 1382. Jiang Taishi was shocked and sent a telepathic message. My lord, he's a devil emperor." Lin Chen cut him off. "So what if he's a devil emperor? Hope is always obtained through fighting. As long as I can fight, the possibility of success will never be zero. I'll leave the other devil kings to you. Leave this old man to me." Ha ha ha. The sky-burying devil emperor looked like he had heard the funniest joke in the world. "Kill them all. Their corpses must be intact. I'll deal with this guy personally." The devil emperor waved his hand, and the 10 top-tier Saint Devil Kings moved in unison. Sonic booms tore through the air and created layers of spatial rifts. The people protecting Lin Chen were forced to make a move. An even more terrifying battle than before was about to break out. Lin Chen's side immediately fell into a disadvantageous position the moment the two sides exchanged blows. All 16 of them were injured, and it was extremely difficult for them to fight against someone with a Saint Heart or above, let alone 10 top-tier Saint Devil Kings. The corners of the heaven-burying Devil Emperor's mouth curled into a cat-and-mouse smile. "Come, let this Emperor see what kind of tricks you use to convince these people. What kind of tricks do you have that you dare to spout nonsense in front of this Emperor?" He had absolute confidence that he could suppress this kid. However, he was really curious. What kind of tricks did he have? The sky-burying Devil Emperor really wanted to see. Charging complete. Host's War God 3-piece set. Ultimate right vambrace. 15% ultimate left leg guard. 15% ultimate right leg guard. 5%. Lin Chen grinned. "You'll find out soon enough." With a twist of his palm, Lin Chen opened his mouth and swallowed the 4 saint pills in an instant. There was the barbaric dragon blood explosion pill that exchanged one's vitality for power, the void pill that temporarily increased one's mental power, and so on. These pills were all forbidden pills that temporarily increased one's power. In the past, Lin Chen would only give them to his doppelganger. However, He had to stake everything on this one now. The moment the saint pills dissolved in his body, an even more domineering power ignited Lin Chen's life force like a divine flame. Absolute. Life. Life. Death. Qi. Rumble. The orange flames were like a ray of dawn that illuminated the endless darkness. His hair fluttered in the wind as the orange flames flickered and burned Lin Chen's entire being. His mind, body, and cultivation were all burned into pure energy. Extreme dual innate skill, absolute life and death. Target: heaven-burying Devil Emperor. Consumed 1 billion talent points to activate orange talent. Absolute life and death. As per the host's request, focus on increasing the host's pure strength. 50 times, 100 times, 200 times. Lin Chen's life force was completely ignited. His eyes were crimson red and his body erupted with power, as if he wanted to break free from the range of the disguised demonic energy. Oh! The Demon Emperor was slightly surprised. To burn all the energy of a living being and convert it into power, are you trying to perish together with me? You must be dreaming. With just this bit of power, the heaven-burying Devil Emperor simply struck out with his palm. Crack! The void of the entire 16th level of the Saint Prison suddenly split into two halves. The faint five-fingered devil seal was like the sun and moon, slamming towards Lin Chen. Absolute life and death, thousand-fold power. Three-piece war god set, the highest limit that the body can withstand. Lin Chen's pure strength instantly broke through 200 trillion dragon power and directly broke through 300 trillion dragon power. He was risking his life. The vortex of golden light instantly formed, and Lin Chen's fist was right at the center. He swiftly punched out. Chi. Bang. The entire 16th level of the Saint Prison shook. When the golden divine light at the center collided with the demonic energy, the aftershock destroyed everything. Jiang Taishu and the rest of the 16 people were instantly sent flying. This terrifying power seemed to make heaven and earth crawl before it. My lord is still holding back? What a terrifying power. It's not an exaggeration to say that it's comparable to the heaven-opening realm. Oh no, although my lord's aura is strong, his life force is nearing its end. When the 16 people temporarily retreated from the battle, two figures appeared in the void. One of them was Lin Chen. His entire body was bathed in blood. The orange flames burned more and more fiercely, and the tips of his silver hair were dyed white. When he vomited blood, Lin Chen's life force was nearing its end. On the other hand, sky-burying Devil Emperor looked relaxed. He even teased the devil on his shoulder with a disdainful sneer on his face. That's it? Sky-burying Devil Emperor smiled. You want to shake me with this brute strength? Is this your trump card? You've really disappointed me. One punch. Lin Chen suddenly smiled. His voice was clean and crisp. The last punch. It will decide who's stronger and who's dead. Boom! Billions of golden divine light pierced through the demonic energy, and an immortal battle intent reverberated between heaven and earth. It was as if the invincible war god had descended upon the world. The golden divine light tore apart the demonic energy's disguise, and the demonic race's disguise was torn apart by the war god's aura that broke through the sky, revealing the younger and more tender face of a youth. Sky-burying Devil Emperor was moved for the first time. Although his face was as pale as paper, his murderous intent became even more ferocious and violent. His eyes shone with the battle intent to risk his life. Host is consuming the three-piece war god set's energy. 14%, 12%, 10%, 7%. Host is accelerating the activation of absolute life and death. Host's life force is depleting at a rate of 300 times. Host's life force is about to be depleted. Time remaining, 10 seconds. System shutdown time remaining, 10 seconds. The system will shut down if the host dies. Lin Chen's power broke through an even higher limit once again. 400 trillion, 600 trillion, 900 trillion dragon energy. In the end, he didn't even know what level he had reached. A wave of invincible energy that could destroy the myriad of worlds appeared for the first time, and it was completely released from Lin Chen's body that was on the verge of burning up. Even sky-burying Devil Emperor revealed a slightly serious expression for the first time. He actually vaguely felt an inexplicable sense of oppression. It was as if he was facing an invincible war god who dominated thousands of worlds. This divine aura is completely different from the divine beings I've fought before. This kid has a divine fate. Sky-burying Devil Emperor activated the devil blood of his doppelganger. All the living beings on the 16th level of the Saint Prison were frightened by this power and fled toward the 15th or 17th level. Oh no, protect the Lord! The 10 Saint Demon Kings felt their scalps go numb. In a flash, they rushed to Sky-burying Devil Emperor's side. Lin Chen had unleashed absolute life and death to the extreme. He had burned all of his life force to ashes in advance. Sky-burying Devil Emperor put his palms together, and a giant cross rose behind him. A vast and shocking devil figure was bound on the cross. Countless chains shot out from his body and formed an earth-shattering devil prison that covered the 16th level of the Saint Prison. He wanted to imprison Lin Chen and his power. 1000 Devil Burial Prison. Lin Chen suddenly smiled. Devil Emperor, you'll suffer a great loss if you underestimate the human race. Boom. In the next moment, Lin Chen swung his fist and rushed forward. This punch was like millions of true dragons that appeared out of nowhere and destroyed countless worlds. This punch was like the most terrifying storm in the universe that exploded at a single point. This punch was like the arrival of the war god himself, and it carried an absolute aura that could sweep through thousands of worlds. The golden divine aura penetrated the edge of the devil prison, and the wind from the punch penetrated the entire 16th level of the Saint Prison. All the meteorite fragments, continental plates, and cages were destroyed. There was no earth-shattering aura, only silent annihilation. It was like a golden divine light that flashed across the sky, bringing with it a breathtaking sight and shedding the darkness. It destroyed everything, annihilated everything. Chapter 1383. The 16th level of the Saint Penitentiary had an unprecedented scene. There was nothing in the shattered space except for a space door and a space tunnel. The 16th level of the Saint Penitentiary was completely empty. What's the result? Jiang Taishu and the others looked in the direction of the battle. In the void, a figure gradually appeared. It was the sky-burying demon emperor. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth, and the fiendish python on his shoulder was broken. Demon eyes with monstrous demonic aura spun around him as he spoke with a deranged expression. Very good, very good. A puny trash of the human race dared to hurt my noble body. I want you dead. It was as if being injured by Lin Chen was a great humiliation. On the other side, Lin Chen stood proudly in the air. The amount of blood flowing out of his body had reached a shocking level. It was as if he had crawled out of a pool of blood. Fresh blood flowed out of his body, and he was covered in blood stains. Ares 3-piece recharge set, ultimate right arm guard. 0% right leg guard. 0% left leg guard. 0%. All the parts of Lin Chen's Ares set had been reduced to 0. He had bet everything on that punch just now. Huff huff, Lin Chen was panting. When the blood flowed down his cheek, he grinned. As expected of the Demon Emperor, you are the first one who can finish his sentence while standing after being hit by my heaven-defying talent. Just as Lin Chen's voice fell, the sky-burying Demon Emperor's pupils trembled. He looked at himself in disbelief. Crack, crack, crack. The crisp sound of cracking was like a piece of brocade cloth being torn apart. Ghastly cracks spread out like spider webs as the demonic chi collapsed and crumbled. I lost. Lin Chen was panting. He grinned and said, "It seems that your clone's cultivation is not higher than rank 1. Demon Emperor, the next time we meet, if your attitude is better, maybe we can have supper together." Lin Chen had made the right bet. He had bet that the sky-burying Demon Emperor's clone would not be able to kill the heaven-defying talent. Otherwise, if his clone was stronger than the heaven-opening realm, perhaps he would have led a team to the Saint Penitentiary. There was no need to fish in troubled waters now. The sky-burying Demon Emperor suddenly laughed. "Ha! Interesting, very interesting. This Emperor actually lost. Throughout the entire human race, this Emperor has never seen someone like you. Perhaps you will become a threat to my race. This Emperor looks forward to the day when we truly meet." Crack, 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 crack. The heaven-burying Devil Emperor's avatar had been reduced to ashes and dust. The heaven-defying bearer's effect has been successfully triggered. Instant kill effect has occurred. Target's killed target has been killed. Heaven-defying talent's talent Lin Chen's, SSSS Demon God. Motherf * Cur, taking a pill to increase one's strength on the spot was really painful. It was as if one's flesh and blood were being minced. However, Lin Chen, who was in intense pain, welcomed a pleasant surprise. At the same time the sky-burying Demon Emperor died, the 10 high-level Saint Demon Kings were also injured by his punch and died. After the sky-burying Demon Emperor's clone died, it dropped attribute light balls that filled the sky like a galaxy. There were at least 10,000 attribute light balls. Moreover, each attribute light ball was of heaven-defying quality. However, what made Lin Chen so excited that he forgot about the pain was the dazzling attribute treasure chest in the center. It was like a pillar of light rising into the sky. This dazzling attribute light, there was no mistaking it, there was no mistaking it. "Little guy." Lin Chen hurriedly transmitted his voice. Little Dark Shadow understood and immediately flew in the direction Lin Chen pointed. Although it could not see the attribute light balls, it would not hesitate to carry out Lin Chen's orders. Host has received 12 trillion high-grade essence, 55 trillion high-grade essence, 1,950 trillion high-grade mental energy, 59 trillion high-grade blood essence, 100 billion strengthening points, 120 billion high-grade dark energy. Lin Chen's attribute value soared. The attribute value he received was extremely terrifying. Just the mental energy attribute value alone was absorbed by Lin Chen's 4 clones. This time, Lin Chen absorbed all the high-grade blood essence attributes into his own body. Because this time, there was no need for disguise. Lin Chen's pure strength started to increase crazily by 300%. It broke through 200 billion, 400 billion, and was still rising. Host has received the War God Set's attribute treasure chest. Opening the treasure chest. Obtained. Gold War God Set's ultimate left vambrace. Charge 0%. As expected. Ha 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 ha. 4 pieces of the set. Now, only the Gold War God armor and the divine left vambrace are left. When I have both, I can unleash the true power of the War God set. Lin Chen laughed heartily in his heart. The corners of his mouth twitched as he felt both pain and joy. Apart from that, Lin Chen's gains were astonishing. Although Pan Yunlong was killed by the Demon Emperor, one of the Demon Emperor's clones and 10 top-tier Holy Demon Kings made up for the attribute value that was unprecedented. Host has opened the Orange Grade Talent Attribute Treasure Chest. Obtained Orange Grade Active Talent Fragment, Transdimensional Fragment 1/3. Host has obtained Transdimensional Fragment 2/3, Transdimensional Fragment 3/3, Permanent Intermediate Orange Grade Active Talents. Transdimensional talent has been automatically integrated. A new talent. Lin Chen's spirits lifted. It was an intermediate orange grade talent. When Lin Chen quickly accessed the talent pane to read the new talent, he was completely stunned. Talent pane, intermediate orange grade talent, transdimensional. Within the range of the host's spiritual senses, The host can consume a large number of talent points to select one or more enemy targets and absorb them into the transdimensional realm. The transdimensional realm is exclusive to the host. After absorbing the transdimensional realm, the enemy will not be able to break it. The only way to remove the transdimensional realm is by the host's initiative or by exhausting the talent point. The teleportation point will remain at the original location before the transdimensional realm was absorbed. The usage limit will increase according to the host's strength. Based on the host's current cultivation, the host can freely select a target to absorb into the transdimensional realm if the host is below the 7th Heaven Sage realm. The talent points consumed will depend on the number of people and the target's cultivation. The longer the host stays in the transdimensional realm, the more talent points will be consumed. Damn, this talent is another trump card. Lin Chen was stunned. This talent was simply shameless. Forcibly absorbing the opponent into his own transdimensional realm? Didn't this mean that as long as Lin Chen had enough talent points, he could fight with anyone he wanted? If he encountered an enemy, even if he was surrounded by a group of powerful saints, he could accurately choose the target he wanted to kill first. Just think about it. Even if Lin Chen was surrounded by a group of 6th Heaven Sage realm experts, he only needed to choose an enemy target and pull them into the transdimensional realm. After that, he would enter the transdimensional realm and release all his clones. In an instant, the disadvantage would become an advantage. It could be said that he could safely take the head of the enemy's general even if there were thousands of soldiers and horses. Ferocious, too ferocious. Ha 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 ha, this talent is simply bullying to the extreme. As long as I pull the opponent into my transdimensional realm, they will be meat on my chopping board in minutes. I can eat them whenever I want. Lin Chen's mouth twitched as he laughed, causing everyone to be puzzled. What's wrong with the Lord? Did he eat bee poop? Why is he laughing so happily? Lin Chen waved his hand and laughed from ear to ear. Let's go. Break out of the holy prison. There is a great world waiting for us outside. Chapter 1384. Let's go. Break out of the holy prison. There's a great world waiting for us outside. Next time, I'll treat you to a great sword. Lin Chen grinned from ear to ear. This time, it was the 4th piece of the Golden Aries set and a new intermediate orange permanent talent. The harvest this time could be said to be heavenly. Lin Chen's heart felt like it was floating. This kind of feeling was like marrying a peerless fairy as a wife and giving her a peerless beauty as a concubine. It was so good that Lin Chen almost couldn't find his bearings. Our Lord is truly a profound master. I can't see through him at all. If you can see it clearly, then you don't deserve to be our master. Ha ha ha, let's go, let's kill our way out. Everyone laughed heartily as they helped Lin Chen to his feet. Then, they flew up into the air toward the 15th level of Sage Penitentiary like a hot knife through butter. As he left, no one noticed that a pair of eyes were staring at Lin Chen's back from the demonic energy vortex that led to the spatial tunnel below. He's not a demon? The man muttered to himself doubtfully. How is the Lord? Just now, the spiritual imprint in my mind was about to reach its limit and almost disappeared. Did something happen to the Lord? Motherf *Ker, whoever dares to touch our Lord, will go back and beat them up. Isn't it just death? Who's afraid of who? Did you drink chicken blood? Why was he so impulsive? Use your muscle-filled brain to think about it. It wasn't easy for us to rush up here. Don't let down the Lord's efforts and rush back. What are you afraid of? If we're going to do it, we'll do it together. If we're going to die, we'll die together. The group finally made it to the 15th level of the Holy Penitentiary after much difficulty. Seeing that the heavenly cycle seal of life and death in their spiritual sea was getting dimmer, they wanted to push it back. At this moment, Lin Chen's hearty laughter rang out. What do you mean by death? We're going to enjoy ourselves from now on. Everyone, charge out. Lin Chen dragged his injured body out of the spatial tunnel with the other 16 people. Everyone was overjoyed. "My lord, you're not dead." Lin Chen's lips twitched. F***ck, what kind of tone is that? You can't wait for me to die. Look at my cheap mouth. Everyone was laughing and joking along the way. Like a hot knife through butter, they broke through 14 levels after 15 levels. It wasn't that the 14th level of Saint Prison was empty, but the main forces had all gathered on the 16th level. They had all been wiped out by Lin Chen, and the remaining prison guards were nothing to worry about. They even had to take a detour when they saw Lin Chen's army. Lin Chen did not plan to be a good person. He released more and more criminals along the way. Although he did not plan to bring these people out, at least they could cause a lot of trouble for the holy prison. 13th floor, 11th floor, 9th floor, 5th floor. The prison overlords from before the 5th level were still there, but in the face of the chaos created by the criminals released by Lin Chen, they could not control the situation at all. Finally, Lin Chen and the others broke through to the 2nd level. There was no longer anyone who posed a threat to them. Carrying Lin Chen on his back, Little Shadow looked off into the distance, and couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Finally, I'm finally going to escape from this damned place. After staying in the holy prison for half a year, he was always vigilant and alert. He was so tense that he almost went crazy from holding it in. When Lin Chen's team approached the center of the 2nd level of the holy prison, the giant space door right above them faintly released a scorching and terrifying pressure. Even Lin Chen felt a burning sensation. This familiar smell, it should be that brat from back then. At this moment, the unconscious Qi Fian opened his eyes. The corner of his mouth curled up in disdain. He's probably waiting for us to go up to the 1st level. It's his responsibility to guard the 1st level. It's also the first and last line of defense of the holy prison. Even if all of us recover to our peak state, we might still be annihilated if we force our way in. Fong Ling laughed. What a pity, let him wait. We don't even need to go to the 1st level. Lin Chen smiled but did not say anything. It was said that the 1st level of the holy prison had the means and foundation left behind by the gods to suppress everything in the holy prison. Unfortunately, he was going to overtake them halfway. Little Shadow used his bloodline ability again to hide everyone's aura in a large area and eliminate it. Its purpose was to prevent the criminals who were about to charge up from below from knowing where to escape. Except for those below the 17th level, Lin Chen did not trust anyone. These criminals were all imprisoned for different reasons. Some of them were big devils. If they were released indiscriminately, the people would be plunged into misery and suffering. Those below the 17th level, at least, did not submit to the demon tribe. They were trustworthy. Needless to say, those on the 18th and 19th level had entrusted their lives to Lin Chen. They were on the same side. Rushing all the way, Lin Chen came to the abandoned prison cell. When he activated the demon seal in his palm, the hidden space passage opened up again. This space passage once connected to the demon tribe's territory. What a brilliant space concealment technique. I'm afraid the higher-ups of the holy prison did not expect there to be a space passage here. Jiang Taishu could not help but be moved. Lin Chen smiled and said, "Don't just sigh. There is still an energy hurricane inside. We can only be considered to be out after we survive it." Everyone looked at each other and smiled. To them, this was child's play. Even the holy prison had attacked, this was nothing. Everyone stepped into the space passage. Little Shadow and Lin Chen hid their auras and covered the rear. Finally, the 2nd level of the holy prison returned to silence. Holy prison, 1st level. The prison guards on this level were all on guard. Their expressions were incomparably solemn. They did not think that the criminals would break through the holy prison, but they also did not think that they could survive in a chaotic battle. That was a group of criminals that had killed all the prison masters below the 5th level. A group of people who were not afraid of death, who knew what they would do when they were about to die. The golden-armored man occupied the center of heaven and earth. His eyes were like the sun as he stared at the space passage on the first level. Not here yet? What's going on? Are they afraid? They know that I am going to destroy them all on the first level. Are they trying to create chaos through other methods? Just as the golden-armored man was about to move to the second level, a figure appeared from the space passage. Everyone was on guard. Don't fight, I'm on your side. The newcomer was the prison master of the third level. He hurriedly ran to the golden-armored man and reported in a trembling voice. Reporting to my lord, all the criminals seem to have disappeared. I don't know where they are hiding. What? Everyone's scalp exploded. Inside the space passage, inside the hurricane, everyone activated their holy power to defend themselves. Their faces could not hide their surprise, nervousness, anticipation, excitement. They were like the bridegroom entering the bridal chamber on the first level. Their breaths were tight, but there was also a hint of anticipation. They were like brothel patrons who went to the brothel for the first time, yearning and excited. They were like young men and women who met their first love for the first time. They were finally going to get out. They did not even dare to dream about it. Are we finally going to get out? Next spring, I'm willing to visit all the 36 domains with my lord. Who are you looking down on? With our lord's tolerance, handsomeness, face, and third leg, do you still need to visit prostitutes? Who are you humiliating? You are right there. Chapter 1385. Heavenly Sacred Region, the central region of the sacred boundaries 36 regions. This region was infinitely large, and it was said that it once occupied a quarter of the sacred boundaries' total area. It had given birth to countless geniuses who had created history. Heavenly Sacred Region, one of the 100,000 dragon cities. Inside an extremely elegant and noble palace. Her blue dress was like a blue ocean, elegant and ethereal. The elegant and noble woman was like a holy goddess who had descended from the 9 heavens. However, under her ethereal elegance, her expression was cold, as if she was not interested in anything in the mortal world. She slowly walked into the palace and finally sat down on the throne. Her beautiful eyes were like a blue ocean. Under her elegant beauty there was an extremely cold chill. Have you passed down the order? Do not neglect any of the invited guests. Her beautiful lips parted as she instructed. The screens on both sides opened, and 6 beautiful maids knelt on the ground. Madam, all the 8th grade and 7th grade forces have been invited, as well as the people you have instructed. They have all been invited. However, Miss Qingwu, a beautiful maid, hesitated. Finally, she gritted her teeth and said, however, Miss Qingwu is unwilling to marry. We have gone to Zixia King Valley several times, but she is unwilling to leave. Miss Qingwu said that she wants to see you, madam. Her fate has never been up to her to decide. The beautiful woman was as cold as snow as she slowly stood up. Fine, I will go personally. If Zixia King Valley is stubborn, then there is no need to care about our old friendship. Green Region, Would See, Tianqing Secret Realm. In the deepest part of the extreme east, in a hurricane cave, many figures turned into a beam of holy light and descended. In the gray canyon, everyone looked at each other in a daze and muttered to themselves, We are back, we are back. Have we really returned to the sacred boundary? All the experts felt as if they were in a dream, as if they had been overwhelmed by ecstasy. In that boundless dusk, as if they had fallen into eternal darkness and silence, they did not know how many eras had passed. They had long become a speck of dust in the vast history of the sacred boundary. However, they had returned. The dragon sank to the bottom of the sea, but its heart remained. Today, it met its master and turned into a dragon. Thank you, my lord, for saving my life. Thank you for saving my life. Shwa, 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 bang, bang. Bang! The earth veins cracked, and the 17 people on the 19th level, 41 on the 18th level, and 4 on the 17th level all knelt down on one knee. These supreme experts who had lived for countless years all knelt down in gratitude, their eyes brimming with tears. As long as they could return to the sacred boundary alive, they would take back the glory that belonged to them one day. Lin Chen waved his hand, dispelling the devilry that had wrapped around him. When he regained his true appearance, he lifted everyone up and laughed heartily. From now on, we're all on the same side. Don't beat around the bush. Listen, we've only succeeded in the first step. Let's find a place to discuss this. Everyone nodded and quickly left the hurricane cave. A day later, inside the desolate mountain gorge, the bodies of the two saint beasts were roasted alive and eaten by everyone. Lin Chen sat beside everyone and said seriously, "The next problem is where we're going. Now, all of our identities can't be exposed." When it came to this matter, everyone sat cross-legged on the ground and listened attentively. In addition to the 41 people on the 18th level and 17 on the 19th level, the remaining 4 supreme experts on the 17th level had also recognized Lin Chen as their master. They were the last 4 people on the 17th level who had survived. The rest had all died in the final battle. Lin Chen looked at Yu Wangxing and said, "Senior Wangxing, you're the one who needs to recover the fastest among all of us." Yu Wangxing was flattered and quickly cupped his fist. "My lord, is there anything wrong with this?" Lin Chen waved his hand and said, "There's nothing wrong with it. You're an 8th grade sacred grade alchemist. Only when you recover can you heal everyone's injuries." That's right, Yu Wangxing was the only top sacred grade alchemist in the team this time. His alchemy skills at his peak were at a level that even the current Lin Chen couldn't compare to. With a flip of his hand, dozens of destiny plant pouches appeared in Lin Chen's palm. Everyone was given 1 destiny plant pouch. Only Yu Wangxing was given 5. Some of these destiny plant pouches were dropped by the prison guards after their deaths and were recovered by Little Shadow. The resources inside were naturally not worth a mention compared to when everyone was at their peak, but now they were crucial resources. Among them, there was also a large number of pseudo-mid-grade destiny plant pouches that Lin Chen had specially given to everyone. With their current identities, they couldn't have any risky contact. Their channels to obtain resources were extremely limited. No one disagreed with Lin Chen's decision. Only when Yu Wangxing recovered would everyone's injuries show signs of recovery. Otherwise, everything would be empty talk. You can communicate with each other through the seal of life and death. You can sense each other's location. Remember, if one person is in trouble, help will come from all directions. We are now on the same line. No one can leave one in the lurch. After hearing Lin Chen's words, everyone looked at each other and remembered it well. As for everyone's identities, before I find a way to help you disguise your identities, no one can see the light of day. You can't fight unnecessary battles. Without absolute safety, no one can use their previous connections. Otherwise, if one person dies, the entire team will be exposed. Everyone had the same feeling when they heard this. Although they had escaped the sacred prison, they weren't completely free from danger. With their connections, it wouldn't be too difficult to heal their injuries. But now, if their whereabouts were exposed, it would affect the entire team. You can use the mysterious domain's Ice Heart Palace as a base. If there's anything, you can go there and wait for me. Before that, act separately. Hiding your identities is the best choice to save your life. You can't rush to recover your strength. Lin Chen looked at Yu Wangxing and asked seriously, "How is it? Are you confident you can recover in a short period of time?" Yu Wangxing pondered for a moment and then said with a serious expression, "If you can send me to the Pill Domain and find an old friend, I might be able to recover more than half of my strength in a short period of time. It might be a bit difficult to recover to the point where I can refine an 8th grade Saint Pill, but refining a 7th grade Saint Pill shouldn't be a problem." Lin Chen asked. Is it safe and reliable? Yu Wangxing nodded. It's absolutely safe. That old friend and I have a life and death relationship. When I was imprisoned in the sacred prison, he personally went to defend me. If it weren't for the fact that those fellows in the sacred prison saw that he was one of the pillars of the alchemy world, he would have been imprisoned with this old man. Good. Since that's the case, 3 of you can recommend that you escort Yu Wangxing to the pill domain. The rest of you can move freely. If there's anything, gather at the mysterious domain's Ice Heart Palace. Be careful. Lin Chen immediately agreed. He was leading such a large group of people. His identity couldn't be exposed, so he couldn't move freely. Letting them find a way out was the best choice. Chapter 1386. All of Lin Chen's servants knew a lot of secrets, such as the coordinates of some ancient treasures. They didn't need to rely on their connections to find resources. They could explore the sacred boundary and beyond the sacred boundary. The best way was to let them move freely. In the end, Ji Wuchen, Zi Qianqiu, and Xiao Ling who were also at the 19th level, escorted Yu Wangxing back to the Dan domain. Jian Wuji was injured, but returning to the sword domain wasn't a big problem. As for the little girl who was suffering from the calamity of pain, she would follow Lin Chen. Lin Chen still had to help the little girl solve her problem. Although there's no ceremony, I still look forward to the next time we meet. Lin Chen stood up, exchanging glances with the others. The next time they met, it wouldn't be in this broken state. My lord, we'll meet again. Everyone stood up and said goodbye. Jian Wuji walked over to Lin Chen and advised him. Little guy, before you have enough strength, don't go looking for the whereabouts of that cultivation technique. Back then, it was one of the strongest sects in the heavenly sanctuary. Now, it's stronger than before. It's best to wait for your people to recover. Lin Chen smiled and nodded. Senior Jian Wuji, I know what to do. Jian Wuji was talking about the whereabouts of the 4th volume of the Tai Futian scripture. The family that had copied his family back then was now one of the strongest sects in the heavenly sanctuary, the deity Sword Villa. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When everyone flew away, only Jin Wuxia and the black-haired little girl were left beside Lin Chen. I'll be able to break these shackles in less than 2 days. Can you really turn me into a little girl of the human race? The black-haired little girl shook the shackles on her body and asked curiously. Lin Chen said, Ha ha, of course, I'll keep my word. Jin Wuxia cupped his fists respectfully and asked, I heard that my lord is looking for 6-fingered Xian Yuan to forge a saint weapon? Lin Chen nodded. Yes, I want to forge a saint weapon above the 6th grade. Jin Wuxia sighed. I wonder how my old friend is doing now. Back then, he and I reached the level 8 together. I didn't expect that after I was wrongly imprisoned, his lover passed away not long after. Reverse Forging Grandmaster Jin Wuxia, a super forging grandmaster who had been imprisoned on the 18th floor. His attainments in forging were so high that he was famous in the sacred boundary. He and the 6-fingered Xian Yuan that Lin Chen was looking for were close friends. There's no time to lose. Let's go. Lin Chen carried the black-haired girl and transformed into a streak of light. Although the Wooden Sea Sky Green Mystic Realm was a mystic realm controlled by a rank 7 sect, if they wanted to leave, they did not need to go through the normal spatial passageway. They had the ability to break through space and leave. 3 days later. Wonder Domain, Jade Cloud City. In a dimly lit tavern. Senior, please reconsider. My Shangguan clan is willing to pay 10 times the salary of a guest elder to invite you out of the mountains to forge weapons. Senior, I'll use the level 7 sacred or universe starstone to invite you out of the mountains to forge once more. Senior Xianyuan, I'm willing to use the level 7 sacred pill, Bodhi life transforming pill to invite you out of the mountains to forge weapons once more. Why don't you pay attention to the path ahead? Today, there are rank 7 and rank 8 geniuses who want you to forge weapons. Why don't you just come out of the mountains and forge a treasure sword? Wouldn't that be great? Single Machine King is the coolest. There's a retard causing trouble here. Beat him up. Inside the tavern, many young prodigies were thrown out of the tavern. Impatient voices could be heard coming from the tavern filled with the fragrance of wine. Scram! 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 Forge weapons? Forge weapons, my ass. I've sworn that I won't forge weapons again in this life. If you're here to buy wine, I'll welcome you. If you're here to cause trouble, I'll hammer all of you to death. The group of prodigies tidied up their attire. Their expressions were ugly. They had traveled hundreds of millions of miles to come here, but they did not expect to be snubbed. One had to know that they were all reputable figures in their respective domains. They were on the demon genius roll, the son of a rank 7 sect, and the heir of a rank 8 sect. What a joke! An order from him could make countless powerful cultivators risk their lives for him. It was bad enough that they had to lower their voices and beg for help, but they were even rejected? With such a bad temper, it's no wonder the grandmasters wanted to cut ties with him back then. Sigh, it's harder to find powerful forging masters. I spent a lot of money to find out where he is. Am I going to return empty-handed? If the forging guild had not been destroyed back then, why would I need to look for him? F***ck. While the prodigies were frowning, 3 black-robed men wearing capes walked into the alley. The prodigies were stunned. Are these 3 people? Everyone felt that there was something mysterious about these 3 people, but they could not pinpoint what was wrong. Then, the 3 of them pushed open the door of the tavern. The black-robed man in the lead smiled. Senior Six-Fingered Xianyuan? I would like to invite you to forge weapons. The moment he opened his mouth, the monstrous geniuses looked as if they were watching a good show. How do you think he'll be thrown out later? I think he'll land on his head first. While everyone was guessing, the tavern suddenly fell silent. It's really you? Voices of disbelief could be heard from the tavern. Ha 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 ha, quick, come in. With a loud laugh, the 3 of them were invited into the tavern. Then, the door was closed, leaving behind a group of dumbfounded prodigies. Did the sun rise from the west? F***ck, am I seeing things? I've invited him for 3 days and 3 nights. I've used both hard and soft tactics, but he didn't give the Black Heaven sect any face at all. He just invited 3 random people in? I'm not moved at all. I even want to burn this damn tavern down. Inside the tavern, old man Xianyuan was excited. His eyes were filled with disbelief and ecstasy. He stared at Jin Wuxia, who had taken off his cape, and gave him a bear hug. Tears flowed from his eyes. Brother, you're really not dead? Yes. I've been resurrected. It's all thanks to my lord. Jin Wuxia exclaimed. Old man Xianyuan was shocked. My lord? This big brother of his was famous for his arrogance back then. How could he recognize a lord? Come, Xianyuan. Let me introduce you. This is my lord, Lin Chen. He's my savior who brought me back to life. Jin Wuxia patted old man Xuanyuan's shoulder. When Lin Chen took off his cape, he looked at Six-Fingered Xianyuan. He had a head full of white hair. He had the aura of a hero past his prime. He was dressed casually in a gray robe. He was the kind of person who would not be found in a crowd. However, Lin Chen could feel the Gengjin Qi sealed in Six-Fingered Xuanyuan's body. Once it was released, it could pierce through heaven and earth. Six-Fingered Xianyuan was a genuine grandmaster blacksmith. Old man Xianyuan was also looking at Lin Chen. He was moved. His big brother was locked up in the holy penitentiary. It was very likely that he was locked up in the lowest 3 levels. Where did this young man come from? How did he save his big brother? How was that possible? To save a criminal locked up in the lower levels of the holy penitentiary was something that had only happened during the demonic tribe's calamity. It was impossible for an ordinary human to do it. Could it be? Old man Xianyuan thought of a possibility and felt a chill down his spine. Chapter 1387. When Lin Chen and the others sat down, old man Xianyuan couldn't help but ask, "How did you, Xianyuan?" Jin Wuxia scolded, "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. The Lord will tell you what he wants to say." Old man Xianyuan shook his head and sighed. Jin Wuxia quickly asked, "I heard that you don't forge anymore. What happened?" Old man Xianyuan sighed deeply at the mention of this. "Back then, when you were sent to prison, I was in so much pain that I wished I was dead. Not long after, because Yun Yun cultivated her family's cultivation method for a long time, her body finally broke down and she didn't have long to live. When she left, she told me that her last wish was to witness the birth of a true divine artifact and restore the glory of the Blacksmith Guild. Before she died, she entrusted this wish to me. We came together because of forging. She was born because of forging, and she died because of it." Old man Xuanyuan's eyes were filled with helplessness and powerlessness. "A divine artifact, what kind of existence and concept is that? Big brother, you should know better than me. Although I've been drinking in seclusion all these years, I haven't neglected the cultivation of the artifact forging technique for a single moment. However, my artifact forging technique has been stagnant for a long time." After listening to old man Xuanyuan's narration, Lin Chen suddenly understood. His lover's last wish was for him to forge a divine artifact and restore the glory of the Blacksmith Guild. This path was too difficult. Moreover, forging a divine artifact meant destruction. The Blacksmith Guild had been completely destroyed because of the forging of a divine artifact. To old man Xianyuan, this was something that was impossible. After losing his best friend and lover in forging, the reclusive old man Xianyuan was unable to recover from this setback and chose to live in seclusion. Haha, indeed. Forging a divine artifact is extremely difficult. Forging a divine artifact means challenging the gods. The gods won't allow divine artifacts to descend. Jin Wuxia suddenly smiled. However, challenging the gods is a path that we must take. I also believe that my lord is someone who can challenge the gods. Every blacksmith hides the dream of witnessing a divine artifact. As long as I'm alive, this dream will never cease. The possibility is never zero. People, after experiencing the most despairing moment, once broken and standing up, they would soar to the heavens. Jin Wuxia was like that. Back in the day, his talent in weaponsmithing was amazing. He was a close friend of old man Xianyuan, and that was when he met him. In terms of talent, he was even more talented than old man Xianyuan. He was one of the most likely candidates to reach the pinnacle of the forging master realm. After being pushed to the brink of death in the holy prison, his temperament had been sharpened to the point that it was countless times stronger than before. Xianyuan. Jin Wuxia looked at old man Xianyuan and said, "Let's start the forging process. As usual, I'll guide you." Big brother, old man Xianyuan was moved. Big brother seemed to have more drive and vigor than before. "Thank you, sire, for saving big brother Jin's life. For this favor, this old man will do his best to forge." Lin Chen smiled and said, "As for the materials, I have all of them here." Lin Chen placed a storage ring on the table. Old man Xianyuan inspected the treasures sealed within the storage ring and praised, "Excellent 7th grade holy ores and even 8th grade holy artifacts. May I know what sire's requirements are?" Old man Xianyuan cupped his fists solemnly. Lin Chen thought for a moment and said, 1 spear, 1 blade, 1 sword, 1 bow and 3 throwing knives. I can use any of them. The higher the grade, the better." The two looked at each other, shook their heads and laughed. "Looks like we're going to be busy, ha ha." Although Jin Wuxia was heavily injured and could not fully participate in the forging process, his vision and experience were still there. With his guidance and participation, it would definitely be a strong team. "Oh right, does Great Master Xianyuan know the little demon empress of Purple Cloud King Valley?" Lin Chen suddenly asked. When he mentioned old man Xianyuan, the little demon empress reaction seemed to be a little different. Purple Cloud King Valley. Old man Xuanyuan's eyes were filled with emotion as he said, "My lover is from Purple Cloud King Valley." Lin Chen was shocked. So old man Xuanyuan was from Purple Cloud King Valley in some way? I haven't been back for a long time, but I heard that something strange happened to Purple Cloud King Valley. Old man Xuanyuan frowned. Although I haven't returned to the valley, I heard that Purple Cloud King Valley was attacked, and the person who attacked was the Valley Master's wife. Although the area of the attack was not large, the upper echelons of the valley seemed to have changed greatly. Qingwu was even brought to Heavenly Sanctuary by her mother and arranged for a marriage. The Valley Master's wife attacked Purple Cloud King Valley? And the little demoness was taken away? Lin Chen's face darkened. Purple Cloud King Valley had helped Lin Chen many times, and his relationship with the little demon empress was not shallow. Looks like after the forging process, I have to immediately go to Purple Cloud King Valley to clarify the situation. If the little demoness took the initiative to participate in the marriage, then forget it, but if she was forced, a cold light flashed in Lin Chen's eyes. Gulyalu, at this time, the black-haired girl pulled Lin Chen and pouted. Are you done talking? I'm hungry. If I don't eat, the energy in my body will go berserk again. Lin Chen withdrew his thoughts and laughed. All right, I'll treat you to something now. Great Master Xuanyuan, I'll leave it to you. Six-fingered Xuanyuan invited everyone to the basement. He even opened up a new space underground like a paradise. On a mountain peak filled with spiritual light, Lin Chen sat cross-legged. A wooden barrel was placed on the mountain peak, and the smell of medicine permeated the air. Take off your clothes and go in. Lin Chen lowered his head and handled the herbs in his hands, and smiled casually. The black-haired girl undid her robe and jumped into the barrel, muttering. Stinky Lin Chen, you said you would treat me to good food, but in the end, you want me to drink medicine and soak. The little girl's head sank, and the water in the barrel made a gurgling sound, and a series of bubbles appeared. Lin Chen smiled faintly. What's wrong? Complaining? This is necessary to control the energy in your body. Once you control it, you'll be a living person. Then, you can eat whatever you want. With that, Lin Chen waved his hand, and 10 pseudo-middle-grade plants of providence appeared. The branches and leaves connected and extended into the barrel. Chi. The violently surging poisonous gas turned into a whirlpool and was absorbed into the branches and leaves of the plants of providence. Something miraculous happened. The black-haired girl's long hair gradually shortened, and her pair of lively eyes also became full of vitality, extending to her delicate body in the barrel. The little girl's delicate body trembled, and the dancing black gas was like ink dragons, fusing into the plants of providence along the branches and leaves of the plants of providence. The 10 plants of providence instantly turned from a treasure to a dark demonic plant. There was no vitality at all, and they were dim and dull, brewing a destructive aura. However, the black-haired girl was transforming at an astonishing speed. Her skin was sparkling and translucent, and her face was healthy and rosy. The method left behind by Tuo Xing is indeed effective. Lin Chen was pleasantly surprised and smiled. It's a success. If you continue to grow in the future, you'll need to continue adding more plants of providence that can withstand your disastrous aura. Give yourself a name. Now you're a living person. The black-haired little girl looked at her red palms as if she was in a dream. Suddenly, she smiled. I'm not a symbol of pain. Then, I'll be called Pingyun. Like you, my surname is Lin. I'll be called Lin Pingyun. Chapter 1388. Lin Pingyun. Lin Chen was taken aback. He didn't expect this girl to choose the same surname as him. In the future, all the calamity energy attracted by your physique will be transferred to the spiritual plant in the Providence plant pouch. Although you can release the energy in your physique, every release will increase the burden on the Providence plant pouch. Lin Ping and asked curiously as a small head popped out of the medicinal bath. Her wet hair was covered in mist. Then can I still stay by your side? I don't know where to go. Lin Chen said with a smile as he added different heavenly materials and earthly treasures, refining them into neutralizing energy and adding them into the medicinal bath. Of course you can, but you have to be obedient. Although the holy purgatory destroyed all traces of your existence in history a long time ago, and there are almost no records of your existence after the ancient era, there's no guarantee that other old monsters will discover your identity. So, until the last moment, you can't do anything without my permission. If you can do it, I'll let you follow me. The little girl nodded happily. Her jade-like legs kicked up a storm, as if she was enjoying the feeling of becoming a complete spiritual body. Lin Chen was helpless. Apart from ignoring life, this girl's temperament was just like a child's. On this day, Lin Chen went to find Jin Wuxia and old man Xian Yuan. After the two of them deliberated and calculated, they had decided to forge a sacred weapon and attribute for Lin Chen. Old man Xian Yuan even wanted to take out nearly half of his family's wealth to make up for the shortfall, to repay Lin Chen for saving Jin Wuxia's life. Both of you, I forgot that if you want to forge a sacred weapon, you can use this. Lin Chen opened his palm, revealing a bottle of pure dragon blood. It was filled with an unprecedented dragon's aura. The aura was so strong that the two old men's expressions changed. This is the blood of the ancestral dragon? My God, my lord, how did you get this thing? Jin Wuxia carefully held the jade bottle. The dragon blood was two-colored, grayish-green and golden. The purity of its dragon's aura vaguely had a supreme, domineering aura that surpassed heaven and earth. Even with their spiritual attainments, after staring at it for a while, they actually felt dizzy, as if they had fallen into a spinning world. It was as if time had stopped. This isn't pure ancestral dragon blood. It's just a little bit of essence blood from the holy dragon I've been rearing, Lin Chen said with a carefree smile, scaring the two even more. A holy dragon in captivity? Oh my God! The holy dragon reared in captivity had the blood of the ancestral dragon? If this news were to spread to the dragon clan, the various dragon clans would probably be shocked. The ancestral dragon was the origin of the dragon race's civilization. Every ancestral dragon was the most powerful existence in the world, comparable to the ancient gods. Above the sacred dragon was the divine dragon, and above the divine dragon was the ancestral dragon. In the era when the ancestral dragon was the overlord, even the gods of the human race did not dare to provoke him. However, for some unknown reason, all of the ancestral dragons disappeared in the end, as if they evaporated into thin air. Lin Chen's holy dragon possessed an extremely small amount of the bloodline attributes of the ancient Taishi dragon and the ancient Taizhou dragon. Although it had the bloodline, it was unable to recreate the body of a dragon because the bloodline was too thin. However, it was not a problem to save up a little dragon blood. There's also this. I hope that the two of you can add this when you forge the sacred artifact. Lin Chen waved his hand and a dragon's scale appeared. The dragon's scale was the size of a millstone that was dozens of feet long. It was grayish-green, like an antique from the prehistoric civilization. Hiss! The two of them sucked in a breath of cold air. With their experience and insight, they could see through the authenticity at a glance. This item was the ancestral dragon's scale. These were the genuine dragon scales of the ancestral dragon body. With their forging foundation, if they added the ancestral dragon scale during the forging process, the sacred artifacts would definitely surpass those of the same level. However, they did not know why Lin Chen would have the ancestral dragon scale. The two of you can do it, right? Help me add this item to the remaining sacred artifact. Lin Chen asked excitedly. Old man Xian Yuan said resolutely, No problem. In my lifetime, I have never used the ancestral dragon's item to forge. With the help of this divine item, perhaps? He and Jin Wuxiao looked at each other and saw the fanaticism in each other's eyes. With the thin ancestral dragon's blood essence and the ancestral dragon's scale, they might be able to forge an unprecedented sacred artifact in the sacred boundary. It's good that there's no problem. Haha, then I'll leave it to the two of you. Lin Chun laughed. He had studied the art of forging and knew that such a rare divine item was the best wine for a forging master. Being able to add this item to the forging process might be a new breakthrough for a forging master. In the remaining days, Lin Chun helped Lin Pingan gradually control her body of disaster in 3 steps. Her strength was several times more terrifying than before. In the past, she had at most the key to unlock the shackles of her body, but she could not completely control the energy in her body. Now, with the spirit plant as a guide, as long as she activated all the disaster energy in the world, she would become the strongest pain disaster in history. However, as long as she made a move, the burden on the spirit plant would be great. If she was not careful, she might even lose a portion of the plant. If he had a choice, Lin Chun would rather not let this girl make a move forever and just be a glutton in peace. On the 25th day, in the secret room below the tavern, Lin Chun sat cross-legged and opened the system. The myriad eyes attribute window appeared. System notification. All of the host's basic attributes have been upgraded to mid-grade attribute. All mid-grade attributes have been converted to high-grade attribute. All high-grade attributes have been automatically converted to peak-grade attribute. Ratio 100 million point. Host, please take note. Heavenly Tao Possession System version 7.0 Host. Lin Chun. Cultivation. 3rd Heaven True Saint Realm, Heart Sutra. Middle. Peak Essence. 36 billion points. Limit. 1,420 billion points of Dragon Power, Flesh Shell Awakening plus 300%. Peak Vitality, 87 million points. Peak Spiritual Power, 24 million points. Peak Saint Realm, Peak Cultivation Technique Soul Essence, 7 million points. Peak Rune Energy, 5 million points. High-grade Heavenly Tao points, 100,000 points. High-grade talent points, 2 billion points. Set essence, 85 million points. Mid-grade strengthening points, 650 points. Odd crystals refined, 41 pieces. Peak elemental energy. Fire 13877 points, Earth 13897 points, Wood 13978 points, Metal 13978 points, Water 13793 points, Lightning 13491 points, Wind 14549 points, Light 14049 points, Dark 14109 points. Set column, Golden War God Set, Equipped Parts, Ultimate Right Arm Armor, Ultimate Left Arm Armor, Ultimate Left Leg Armor, Ultimate Right Leg Armor. Active Talent Column. Super-dimensional teleportation, steel omen, absolute life and death, instant light split shadow, annihilation, ultra spacetime. Passive talent column. Dual cultivation acacia, super chaos, extreme god possession. Bloodline status column. Cultivation technique status column. Life awakening column. Killing skill column. Characteristic rune column. Talent combination skill. This is too scary. I didn't even know I had collected so many attribute points. Lin Chen's mouth twitched a few times. Peak Essence, 36 billion points. Chapter 1389. 36 billion top-grade Essence points. What kind of concept was that? Compared to before, half a year ago, when Lin Chen entered the Holy Purgatory, his top-grade essence points were less than 40 trillion. Converted to top-grade essence points, it was at most 400,000 top-grade essence points. How much was it now? 36 billion top-grade essence points. In other words, Lin Chen's attribute value had increased by more than 90,000 times. This attribute value was too crazy. One had to know that the attribute value that Lin Chen had stolen was from all the criminals in the holy purgatory. Even if their strength was less than 100%, they were still formidable characters and holy lords of their generation. In the entire holy purgatory, he had killed all kinds of prison keepers, prison masters, and even killed one of the demon emperor's avatars. Damn it, if I release the sealed acupoints, not to mention expanding them, will I be directly blown to death. Lin Chen was sweating profusely. Once Lin Chen released the sealed acupoints, he would definitely break through. And it would be an unprecedented breakthrough. His acupoints expansion would definitely be at a level that could shake heaven and earth and shatter planes. Lin Chen found it hard to imagine how many times he could expand his acupoints. The standard for the expansion of the demon list was 15 times for a saint acupoint. Perhaps he, Lin Chen, could expand a saint acupoint 50 times? Or 100 times? He didn't dare to think about it at all. Not to mention, his elemental attribute values had undergone earth-shattering changes. Compared to when he entered the holy purgatory, all of them had increased by more than 200 times. Once the acupoints were expanded, Lin Chen's cultivation and combat strength would skyrocket and become unparalleled in the world. My holy dragon has finally finished refining all the blood chi attribute. When Lin Chen looked inside the holy dragon's body again, the dragon's body was as majestic as several continents connected together. The dense and crisscrossing dragon veins contained an aura that could destroy the world. The holy dragon's dragon veins had broken through 700 billion, and its pure strength had broken through 7 trillion dragon power. It had broken through to become a rank 8 high-grade holy beast. It had truly advanced by leaps and bounds. During his time in the holy prison, Lin Chen had transferred the majority of the blood essence he had collected or fallen into the holy dragon's body. Even the blood essence he had obtained from killing the demon emperor's avatar was the same. However, the Xinglong's personality was too strong. Basically, he would be remembered the moment he made a move. Therefore, Lin Chen had not allowed the Xinglong to make a move. Right now, an ordinary life and death saint was nothing more than a punching bag in front of Lin Chen's saint dragon. I wonder if my acupoint expansion will allow me to contend against life and death realm experts. Lin Chen's heart was filled with anticipation. If he did not use some of his trump cards and spiritual power, he could at most fight against a saint who had just entered the life and death realm with pure strength and cultivation base. I might as well expand the acupoints now. Lin Chen was just about to unseal his acupoints. TSK? Boom. The plane trembled, and a phenomenon appeared in the entire Jade Cloud City. Winds and clouds surged. This is... Lin Chen narrowed his eyes, then his face lit up with joy. The sacred artifact that I want has appeared. Jade Cloud City, Fengyan Tower. The various sex experts and monstrous geniuses who had been rejected outside the door had gathered here. They had been waiting nearby, waiting for the 3 black-robed men to appear. They wanted to learn from them how they managed to move that monster, old man Xianyuan. Damn it, those 3 people have been in there for so long, and there's still no movement. Damn it, should we break in by force? I've already called for people. Should we just break into the store later? We came here after traveling hundreds of millions of miles. We can't return empty-handed. If it still doesn't work, we'll use force. Yes, we'll use force against them. How hard? As hard as possible. Just as the monstrous geniuses were about to agree, a phenomenon suddenly appeared. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Heavenly flowers rained down as divine light surged. 9 different types of sacred light covered the entire Jade Cloud City. The Jade Cloud City Lord, who was in seclusion, was suddenly awakened. Looking at the terrifying phenomenon in the sky, his eyes trembled. This is the phenomenon of a 7th grade sacred artifact appearing. 7th grade. A 7th grade sacred artifact was qualified to be recorded in the Sacred Boundaries Legendary Sacred Artifact ranking. Lin Chun appeared in the sky above Jade Cloud City in a flash. 9-colored sacred light rose between heaven and earth. Every ray of sacred light was like a rainbow, absorbing the spiritual essence and providence of heaven and earth. Is this the phenomenon of a 7th grade sacred artifact? Lin Chun was shocked. Sacred artifacts were divided into 9 grades, especially the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Every grade was a dividing line. However, 7th grade sacred artifacts, which were above 6th grade, were absolutely different. 6th grade sacred artifacts contained spirituality and understood all things, while 7th grade sacred artifacts had spirituality. A 7th grade sacred artifact only recognized one master. Unless the master voluntarily chose to pass on his legacy to someone else, then it could change masters. Otherwise, those who snatched it by force would not be able to obtain a 7th grade sacred artifact. If the master died, the 7th grade sacred artifact would also abandon its spirituality and disappear, turning into a pile of scrap metal. As Lin Chun roamed the Saint Prison, he had obtained grade 6 Saint artifacts from some of the stronger Hell overlords with rich resources. However, the situation was urgent at that time, and he had chosen to break them down in exchange for a large amount of set essence attribute. That was why he had not left them behind. However, Lin Chun had never obtained a 7th grade sacred artifact. This was because the forging of a 7th grade sacred artifact was too difficult and expensive. Even if it failed once, it was enough to cause a 7th grade sect to suffer great losses. Sects that possessed 7th grade sacred artifacts were usually 8th grade families, or very few top-notch 7th grade sections. They would have a sacred artifact of their own. A 7th grade sacred artifact could be considered as an embryonic form of life. In Lin Chun's knowledge, among all the sacred artifacts he had seen with his own eyes, only the 5-colored golden sword in Lin Xingchen's hands had shown signs of life. On the other side, the phenomenon of a 7th grade sacred artifact. Oh my God, could it be that 6-fingered Xian Yuan has come out? Something's not right, something's not right. This phenomenon is not limited to just one 7th grade sacred artifact. Many monstrous prodigies stood up in shock and immediately rushed in the direction of the phenomenon. Lin Chun narrowed his eyes. Many auras were heading in his direction. The birth of a 7th grade sacred artifact will definitely trigger a phenomenon in the heavens and earth. Furthermore, it will need to absorb the providence of the heavens and earth to condense spiritual consciousness. This will definitely attract the covetous eyes of powerful cultivators. Lin Chun frowned. With the 2 elders' experience, it was impossible for them not to know about this. There was only one possibility for them to allow the phenomenon to appear. Perhaps some unexpected accident had occurred during the forging process. After all, this was a sacred artifact forged from the ancestral dragon's item. There are quite a few people here. Just in case, let's protect this area first. Extreme Prison, Heavenly Prison. Lin Chun released the sacred dragon that had transformed into a human form. Azure dragon light burst forth from his palms and filled the sky. Boundless water prison surged like raging waves, engulfing the horizon and heavily protecting the area around the pub. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. With a spatial shift, close to 100 people appeared thousands of miles away. All of them were powerful cultivators, and none of them were weak. Friend, you're the one who invited Senior Xian Yuan, right? I'm Su Daoqing, ranked 6766 on the Monstrous Prodigies list. Ask your people to remove the protection. We're also looking for Senior Xian Yuan to forge artifacts. Yes, why don't you share with us how you managed to invite Senior Xian Yuan? We're willing to exchange for something of equal value. Beep beep, brother, I'm Tailwind. Don't close the door. Open the door. Little brother, come out and play. Chapter 1390. With Xing Long's current strength, using a transcendent bloodline ability was far more powerful than before. He could even block all life and death realm experts. When the Supreme Prison, Heavenly Prison, rose high and the geniuses were blocked outside, he sent a secret message to Lin Chen. Lin Chen couldn't help but sneer. Do these people really think I'm a 3-year-old kid? The Grade 7 sacred artifact was currently absorbing spirit chi and condensing spirit chi. If he snatched the Grade 7 sacred artifact now, he could immediately get it to recognize him as its master. Although it would damage its spirit chi, it would be a huge gain if he managed to snatch it. These guys definitely didn't come with good intentions. Delicious down there? Go F***ck yourself. Everyone. At that moment, Lin Chen sent a telepathic message. He smiled faintly, his smile filled with killing intent. If you want to rob me, just say it. Why are you beating around the bush? I've always been indifferent to life and death and fight if you're not convinced. If you're not convinced, come at me. Rumble. Lin Chen released his sacred phoenix wings and rushed out of the extreme prison, Heavenly Prison's range. He smiled mockingly as he faced the monstrous prodigies. Do you want to fight one-on-one or as a group? If it's one-on-one, I'll fight all of you. If it's a group fight, I'll take care of all of you together. The fake smiles on the monstrous prodigies' faces gradually disappeared. Su Daoqing, who had spoken earlier, said indifferently, Hee brother, looks like we have nothing to talk about. Let's break in first and have a good talk with Senior Xian Yuan. Talk my ass. I'll talk after I snatch it. Ah. Little brother, are you open to force but not persuasion? Then I'll have to appease little brother. The monstrous prodigies looked at each other. The life and death realm cultivators they brought all gathered on the other side, planning to storm the extreme prison, Heavenly Prison. There were a total of 76 cultivators in this group, and 5 of them were at the peak of the life and death realm. 23 monstrous prodigies surrounded Lin Chen. Even Grade 7 sects rarely had Grade 7 sacred artifact. They were not afraid at all. They would be fools not to snatch a sacred artifact that had appeared in front of them without any background. What benevolence, righteousness, and morality! In the face of such huge benefits, all of it was nonsense. Plus, these heaven's favorites didn't stop there. Because if they get it, it's very likely that it'll be theirs. In their own sects, most of them were the pillars of the younger generation. They were the strongest in their sections. Once they obtained the 7th grade saint artifact, they would pass it down to them. Moreover, they were on the demon genius list. Even if they took 10,000 steps back, their lives would not be threatened. Boom. Bang. 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 High up in the sky of Jade Cloud City, all the life and death saints brazenly attacked. Their saint power illuminated the surrounding tens of thousands of li as they bombarded the extreme hell, Heavenly Prison. If 76 life and death realm saints joined hands, even ordinary star-receiving realm experts would not be able to stop them. What is this cage? Even a Na Xing cultivator might not be able to withstand our combined attack. This seems to be a move of the Dragon Clan. How is that possible? Such a powerful dragon has infiltrated Jade Cloud City, yet we actually failed to sense it. Don't hold back, go all out. If we don't blast this thing open, none of us will be able to break in. Xing Long was alone in the extreme hell, Heavenly Prison. Boundless raging waves turned into a high wall of waves. The azure energy rippled like jade waves, shaking violently from the life and death realm saints time and time again. On the other side, the Jade Cloud City Lord's forces also wanted a share of the loot. They gathered near the extreme hell, Heavenly Prison. 23 monsters besieging a young man. This is the first time I've seen such a scene. I keep feeling like I've seen this kid somewhere before, but I can't remember where. That dragon looks strong, but I don't think he can hold on for long. Let's take advantage of the chaos later, and try to take advantage of it. The Jade Cloud City Lord and the others hid in the dark. At this moment, Lin Chen was surrounded. Boom! Su Daoqing and a flirtatious lady attacked first, slashing out a sword light that resembled the sun and moon. A sword came from the west, overflowing with celestial aura. The sword light spun faster and faster, finally slicing the space in front of Lin Chen into 4 halves. Many monsters had already turned their attention to the extreme hell heavenly prison. They didn't take Lin Chen seriously at all. Just based on Lin Chen's life force fluctuations, which were even younger than theirs, all the monsters unanimously agreed that this kid posed no threat to them at all. There was no prodigy in the mystic realm who could withstand their siege at all. Lin Chen casually threw out a punch and a kick. More than 1 trillion draconic force tore through the air, howling through the mountains and rivers. Chi! Bang! 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 After destroying the two's attacks head-on, Lin Chen flapped his holy phoenix wings and flew away quickly. Body refining sage? Be careful, this kid has some tricks up his sleeve. The monsters instantly perked up. No one wanted to be injured and fall into a disadvantageous position in the upcoming battle for the Sage artifact. The 23 monstrous prodigies, the weakest of whom was at the mid-stage of the transformation realm, were all super monsters with 44 to 48 cores. Among them, there was no lack of super monsters who could expand their Sage points by 40 times and condense their Sage points by 15 times. They could even challenge life and death realm cultivators. Lin Chen's lips curled up, and his shoulders trembled. Swoosh! Swoosh! Whoosh! 6 beams of divine light descended like phantoms. Lin Chen's 6 clones appeared at the same time. The monsters, who had been calm and collected earlier, suddenly had serious expressions on their faces. But it was not over yet. Lin Chen did not intend to tangle with them at all. The moment the clones appeared, all the clones pushed their palms forward. Peerless talismans, which could suppress eternity and look down on the world, descended as if they were tearing the sky apart. They shot out like lightning and exploded on the heads of all the monsters. Host has consumed 5,000 points of top-grade talisman energy to activate the slowdown talisman. The expressions of all the monstrous geniuses changed greatly. What kind of move is this? Most of my sage power can't circulate? I've never seen such a cultivation technique before. From their sage points to their sage points, and even space, everything had become stagnant and slow. The clones flashed in front of a silver-armored monster and punched out violently. That silver-armored monster had been hit by the slowdown talisman and did not have much energy left to retreat. Before he could react, the clones had already punched through his sage protective armor, and he spat out blood. The punches were like a storm. Knee strikes, whip kicks, uppercuts. Lin Chen's clones did not pause at all. Every punch unleashed more than one. 3 trillion dragon power. Bam! 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 Lin Chen and his 6 clones instantly started a massacre. Ah! You probably think that you won't be punished because you're on the monster rankings, right? You've robbed the person you shouldn't have. Since you dared to provoke your brother Chen, none of you can leave today. His laughter was domineering. Lin Chen smashed the skulls of 2 monsters with a palm strike and sent one flying with a kick. He continued to beat them up violently. The dozen or so sages on the Jade Cloud City Lord's side sucked in cold breath. It was a one-sided battle. Or rather, it could not be considered a battle. It was a one-sided slaughter by that young man. What was even more frightening was that this kid was killing those on the monster rankings as if they were chickens. He did not even blink. Where did this lunatic come from? Chapter 1391. The group of Sky Prides attacking Lin Chen were very strong, terrifyingly strong. They were all ranked around 6,000 on the Demon Genius list. But at this moment, they couldn't do anything, because Lin Chen's rune of deceleration was even stronger. 5,000 top-tier rune energy was equivalent to 500 billion advanced rune energy. The most powerful slow rune Lin Chun had used in the holy prison was 1,060 billion advanced rune energy. In other words, the slow rune he used this time was almost half as powerful as it was in the holy prison. The slow rune was enough to seal the entire mortal world for a few years. It could even seal a Sacred Heart Realm cultivator. Even if the slow rune was less than half as powerful as the last time, it could seal an ordinary Star Realm cultivator, let alone a group of transformative realm cultivators. They were not on the same level at all. Brother Chen. Could he be Lin Chen? He's the monster from half a year ago. Oh my God, how did I provoke this guy? Many Sky Prides felt their scalps tingle when they recognized Lin Chen. How the F***ck is this Lin Chen? Half a year ago, the Dao Querying Palace had caused a shocking change in the mystic realm. Everyone in the 7th rank sects knew about it. Someone challenged the authority of the Demon Genius list, and the enforcement team of the Demon Genius list personally took action. In the end, they even involved the various sects of the Sword Domain and the Divine Flame Palace. It wasn't that they didn't know about Lin Chen. It was just that as time passed, and Lin Chen had been hiding in the holy prison for half a year, there was no news about him in the sacred boundary. Wah, Brother Lin Chen, I didn't know you asked Old Man Xianyuan to forge a sacred artifact. Please let me go, bang. Lin Chen punched the demon that was begging for mercy. His eyes were filled with murderous intent. He did not give them any chance at all. Oh no! Save the young master. It's Lin Chen. How could it be this fiend? The life and death realm elders, who were besieging the extreme prison heavenly prison a moment ago, were now crazily rushing over. Get lost. It's not your turn yet. None of you will be able to escape. Lin Chen sneered, and with a flick of his palm, another 9,000 points of top-notch rune energy slowing rune exploded. All the life and death saints were stopped in midair. Within 100,000 li radius of Jade Cloud City, the movements and thoughts of all living beings became extremely slow. Rip. The Saint Dragon activated his bloodline ability. Raging seas swept across the sky, and water prisons covered the sky. 4 extreme prison heavenly prisons enveloped all the life and death realm saints. The holy dragon, who had taken human form, clenched his fist, and the cage rapidly shrank. The 7 trillion dragon power points were compressed like space collapsing. Before those saints could even use any defensive measures, their flesh and blood were torn apart, and cries of agony filled the air. Bang! 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 One after another, life and death realm saints exploded into bloody mists and were crushed on the spot, leaving behind a large number of attribute light balls. Crack! Bang! There were some super geniuses who possessed life-saving spatial sacred items. Before they died, they would activate automatically to protect their master and tear apart the void to escape. Trying to escape? You jumped out to rob me, and you want to run when you can't beat me? How can there be such a simple thing in this world? Get down here. Lin Chen smiled evilly and clenched his fist. Buzz. A green brilliance descended like a star. The moment it lit up the space, the world turned into a gray void space. Consumed 110,000 talent points. Absorbed 11 crystal-level enemy targets into the hyperspace. Duration of hyperspace, 23 hours 59 minutes. Those geniuses who thought they were saved instantly stiffened. Where is this? I can't shatter the space here. Isn't this the sacred boundary? Even a plane created by a star receiver realm isn't this sturdy. All the geniuses wailed. Lin Chen moved his body and beat them up violently. Their flesh was mangled, and their attribute light balls dropped crazily. These geniuses were here to visit or ask Six-Fingered Xianyuan to come out and forge weapons. They had brought a lot of good stuff with them, and Lin Chen took them all. It just so happened that the attribute points he lacked the most now were set essences. From the outside world, Lin Chun and the remaining geniuses seemed to have been illuminated by a green brilliance and disappeared without a trace. However, in the infinite hyperspace, Lin Chun didn't leave any of them alive. His 6 clones and main body destroyed all the geniuses along the way. At this moment, 23 names on the list of geniuses quickly dimmed. The names that were shining like the sun in the sky dimmed and disappeared like falling stars. Flower Region's Autumn Rain Palace. Thousand Region's Impermanence Sect. Flame Region's Four Xiang's Heaven Flame Sect. Saber Region's Nangong Family. Inside the rank 7 sects and families, many powerful figures stood up in shock. Some were awakened from their secluded cultivation, some were startled when they were managing affairs, and some were startled when they were having fun. They even had to take out the ranking list to confirm it. What's going on? Is Dao Qing dead? My Ling Er's talent is unparalleled. He expanded his acupoints by more than 400 times. Even a life and death realm cultivator can't kill him. Who is it? Who dares to kill a person on the list? Who dares to kill a member of the Nangong family? In a distant void dimension, in a pitch-black ancient tower. In a secret chamber, 3 old men opened their eyes at the same time. It was as if a world of lightning was born and died, with lightning flashing and thunder rumbling. 23 people on the list died at the same time? What's going on? Where did they die? Mystic territory. The 3 old men were stunned. Mystic territory? Why is it mystic territory again? This can't be so coincidental, right? Could it be that little bastard again? How long has it been since he stopped? Jade Cloud City, City Lord Mansion's tower. When more than a dozen sages saw Lin Chun appear like a ghost again, he was the only one left. All the geniuses were gone. 23 geniuses are gone just like that? Oh my God, that's too brutal. This kid is much more brutal than the rumors say. Fortunately, we didn't go up just now. Otherwise, F***CK. He's coming toward us. Swoosh. Lin Chun descended on the City Lord Mansion's tower. Jade Cloud City's City Lord pretended to be calm and cupped his fists politely. Young friend, you're really a god descending from the heavens. We bow down to you. Lin Chun was all smiles. Oh my, you must be the City Lord. Your words are so nice. With that, Lin Chun and the City Lord put their arms around each other's shoulders, smiling like innocent children who had just lost their virginity. City Lord, I've put on such a wonderful performance for you. No matter what, I should charge you a performance fee or something, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't feel good about letting you guys whore me for free, right? Jade Cloud City's City Lord was shocked. What is he doing? From his tone, he's F***king, snatching. He's asking for it. Young friend, this is a small token of my appreciation. Jade Cloud City's City Lord took out a dark blue storage ring. Lin Chun quickly pushed it back. Oh my, City Lord, what are you thinking? Am I that kind of person? You're too polite. Take it back. With that, Lin Chun really pushed the storage ring back. Seeing this, the other sages heaved a sigh of relief. They really thought that this kid was going to snatch it. Well, it seemed like they had misunderstood him. This should be an honest kid who wouldn't offend others unless offended. The next sentence almost made everyone vomit blood from anger at this honest child. I heard that there are many treasures in the City Lord Mansion's warehouse of our Jade Cloud City. A kid from the mountains, want to take a look. Lin Chun said seriously. Well, I don't mean anything else. I'm just going to take a look. I definitely won't do anything. Jade Cloud City's City Lord. Chapter 1392. Ah, I like this one. Lin Ping and was dressed in an exquisite dress. She looked very cute as she jumped around happily in the storeroom of the City Lord Mansion. I like this too. Wow, this storage ring is so beautiful. I want it too. Lin Ping and took everything out of the storeroom. Lin Ping and was all smiles. Isn't that right, City Lord? I'm a man of my word. My biggest strength is that I'm handsome and can fight. My biggest weakness is that I'm too honest. Look, I'm just looking. I won't move. The sages in the City Lord mansion twitched their mouths. You're King honest. You came to look and didn't move, but the little girl beside you liked everything and took everything away. How much did this young man go through to be so thick-skinned? Well, I have to say that the City Lord mansion in Jade Cloud City is quite beautiful. Let's go back, Ping-an. When Lin Chun pulled Lin Ping-an away, the sages were furious but did not dare to say anything. How would they dare? If they said anything more, their heads might fall to the ground. This was a ruthless person who even killed those on the monster rankings. In the entire sacred boundary, he was the only monster who dared to challenge the authority of the monster rankings. Just based on the way he killed those life and death realm cultivators and the deaths of those monstrous prodigies, no one thought that they could escape from him. Don't be fooled by how amiable this kid looks. He's more ruthless than anyone when it comes to fighting. Just admit that we're unlucky. If we didn't come out of seclusion and covet his sage artifact, we wouldn't have suffered like this. We asked for it. Lin Chun held Lin Ping-an's hand and flew in the air. Lin Ping-an mumbled, "Why didn't you call me when you were fighting just now?" Lin Chun pretended to be serious. "Why? It's not your turn to fight. Just stay put for these small fries." The holy dragon guarded near the sage artifact and absorbed all the elemental light balls into its body. Lin Chen's stats increased a little. Although it was not as good as when he was in the holy prison, he was still a group of monstrous prodigies and life and death realm cultivators. Lin Chen looked at his 51 million points of top-grade rune energy and sighed inwardly. How confident! What do you mean by having confidence? With 51 million points of top-level rune energy, he could cast the world-shaking rune of delaying hundreds of times in the holy prison, unless it was a nascent soul realm expert that was ranked on the monstrous genius rankings. Otherwise, there was utterly no existence in the 7th level of the Saint Realm that could threaten Lin Chun. With the power of this rune, Lin Chun could single-handedly charge into any rank 7 sect. He would not be afraid at all. If the enforcement team of the monster ranking was sent out again, even if Lin Chun could not defeat them, it would be easy for him to leave. Unless the other party sent out someone at the peak of the Saint Heart Realm, there was no way they could stop Lin Chun. This is what you call confidence. As long as a rank 8 sect didn't make a move, Lin Chun could do whatever he wanted. Let's go and take a look at my sacred artifact. When Lin Chun entered the extreme prison Heavenly Prison, the phenomenon suddenly disappeared. Several streams of light shot towards Lin Chun at the same time. So fast. What's that? Just as Lin Chun was about to stretch out his hand to block the attack, who would have thought that the holy light would stop around Lin Chun's body? The holy light swirled and released a terrifying phenomenon. It was the sacred artifact that Lin Chun had requested to be forged. A spear, a saber, a sword, a bow, and 3 flying sabers. Lin Chun first observed the war spear in his hand. The body of the spear was crimson red, and it was 9 feet long. It was awe-inspiring and filled with righteous chi. It did not disperse and no evil could invade it. The sharp dragon chi at the tip of the spear was like 2 dancing dragons. The war spear was like a newborn baby, leaning on Lin Chun's shoulder. It had just awakened its spirituality. Lin Chun praised in his heart. This spear was simply perfect. When he looked at the saber and the sword, Lin Chun was even more surprised. The sword was 4 feet 7, and it was as white as jade. The ice crystals of the 9 heavens adorned the sword body. Frost flowed at the tip of the sword, the blade was like an unpolished jade, and the sword tip was like a cicada's wing. The ice aura surging from the sword hilt formed a pair of wings. At a glance it was like a world of ice. When the sword was drawn, it sealed the world in ice and cut through the sky. Its aura was bone-chilling and it danced in the wind. Its spirituality was extremely good. The saber was completely crimson, as if it had been bathed in a pool of blood. The spine of the saber was divided into 9 bloody lines that connected to the blood-colored long qing in the center of the saber hilt. The long qing blinked slightly, and flames burst forth and burned the sky. It looked down on the world and bowed down to it. The bow was as blue as a crescent moon. It was inlaid with 3 cloud thunder star stones that flickered with starlight. The bowstring was like a bolt of lightning. Lin Chun pulled the bowstring slightly, and the bowstring vibrated with a clear sound that shattered the mountains. The 3 flying sabers were even more amazing and mysterious. One of them was as red as a crescent moon, and its blade was as sharp as a cicada's wing. It shone brightly, and wherever its brilliance shone, hundreds of flowers would compete in beauty. One of them was enshrouded in a sharp white light. Its spirituality was so high that it was connected to Lin Chen's heart and would automatically protect its master. With just a thought from Lin Chen, it would release its sharpness. One of them was as straight as a pencil. Thousands of thunderbolts roared in unison, and the lightning was devastating. It swept through the sky and was extremely domineering. The phenomenon released by each sage artifact was extremely terrifying. Furthermore, they had a similar characteristic. When the phenomenon was hidden, there were traces of space stagnation and time stopping. 7th grade, and even more 7th grade. These sage artifacts were all 7th grade. Furthermore, Lin Chun felt that these sage artifacts were still in their embryonic forms, but they had automatically recognized him as their master. Could it be because of that bottle of blood essence? The holy dragon is a part of my body and has the same bloodline. Did they automatically recognize me as their master? Just as Lin Chen was pleasantly surprised, Jin Wuxia and Six-Fingered Xian Yuan, who had concealed their auras, rushed out of the tavern. "My lord! Young friend, there was an accident in the forging process. However, it doesn't seem to be a bad thing." The 2 of them looked excited and emotional. When they saw that the sage artifacts had automatically recognized their master, they were even more impressed. "My lord, come in and talk in detail." Jin Wuxia's tone was filled with excitement. The 4 of them returned to the tavern. The 2 masters of the forging industry told Lin Chen about the accident in the forging process. What? Accelerated formation in advance? After adding the ancestral dragon scale during the forging process, the flow of time accelerated, causing the sage artifacts to take shape at an extremely fast speed? What? The 7 sage artifacts are only half-finished embryonic forms? They will reach 8th grade or even higher in the future. As that accidents came one after another, Lin Chen was dumbfounded. Yes, although these 7 sage artifacts are not the highest grade sage artifacts that we have ever forged, their spirituality is the highest. Moreover, because of the ancestral dragon scale, they have the ability to temporarily affect time and space. As for how far they can be developed, it depends on the use of the host. In addition, the 7 sage artifacts all have their own ways of growing. They are more like babies that were born in advance and have enormous potential. There are very few sage artifacts that can be upgraded in the history of forging. Moreover, all of them are below the 6th grade. My lord, you are the first sage artifacts that can be upgraded above the 6th grade. Jin Wuxia's face was pale but filled with excitement. To the 2 of them, being able to forge such sage artifacts gave them an extraordinary sense of achievement. That's right, little friend, if you want to head to the Purple Cloud King Valley, you have to hurry. There is a grand event that will be held in the Heavenly Sanctuary recently. That last Qingwu's departure might be related to that grand event. When old man Xian Yuan said this, Lin Chen immediately stood up and smiled. Of course, I can't wait to get my hands on the sage artifacts. Chapter 1393. Six-fingered Xian Yuan asked again. By the way, Sir Lin Chen, have you thought of a name for the saint artifact? Naming the saint artifact was a part of the blacksmith's process. This was the time to witness his own creation. Lin Chen nodded and smiled. Naturally, the sword can freeze the 9 heavens, so it's called freezing sky. The blade has absolute flame, one blade can destroy 10 directions, so it's called absolute flame. The bow contains the power of the stars, the fury of thunderclouds, so it's called fury of the 9 heavens stars. The red spear is invulnerable to all evils, the righteous aura can slay all demons, so it's called demon slayer. The 3 flying knives each have their own abilities, one has spiritual connection, so it's called spiritual connection, one can split the spirit of a saint, so it's called scorching God, and one has unparalleled offense, so it's called rushing thunder. Six-fingered Xuanyuan's body trembled, and the 2 blacksmiths looked at each other and sighed in their hearts. Freezing sky, absolute flame, fury of the 9 heavens stars. Demon slayer, spiritual connection, scorching God, rushing thunder. I didn't expect Brother Jean and I to forge such saint artifacts. These saint artifacts will definitely be ranked 8th grade in the future. Or even higher. Jean Wuxia stroked his beard and smiled. In Master's hands, 8th grade might not be the peak. The 7 saint artifacts have their own ways of growth, and they might even surpass 8th grade in the future. Let's talk about this later. Ha ha, I'm leaving. Lin Chen was standing up with Lin Ping and, Master, please be careful when you do things. If possible, try not to go to the Heavenly Saint region. The Heavenly Saint region is second only to the Saint Kings, and it has the most experts. It's a place that gathers the mid-high level power of the sacred boundary. Jean Wuxia advised. He understood Lin Ping's personality well, and he dared to fight. He might even cause a big commotion in the Heavenly Saint region. Lin Chen smiled. Don't worry, I can still run if I can't beat them. I'll think of a way to treat Brother Wuxia's injuries. You can set off without worry. I have a spatial passage to the Purple Cloud King Valley. You can rush there as fast as you can. Six-fingered Xian Yuan gave Lin Chen a spatial jade scroll. Then I'll have to trouble you, senior. Lin Chen left the tavern and tore the spatial jade scroll, teleportation. Jean Wuxia shook his head and sighed as he watched Lin Chen leave. This lord of mine has a fiery temper. I wonder what kind of big trouble he will cause this time. Ha ha ha, big brother Jean, let's go as well. 23 monstrous geniuses have died. We can't stay in this Jade Cloud City any longer. I have a good place to treat your injuries. Alright, let's go then. 3 days later, in the Violet Cloud King Valley. In the Hall of the King's Valley. Damn it, we're all family. Sister-in-law, do you have to be so ruthless? She's still one of us. If it wasn't for the Grand Elder of the King Valley forcing second brother to marry her, I would be annoyed whenever I see this woman. That's enough. Quarreling all day long. Are you done yet? She had already been taken away, so what was the point of talking about this? If you have the guts, why don't you go to the heavenly sacred region? Let's fight then. Both of you have a head on your shoulders. Who's afraid of who? Enough, stop arguing. While Zi Tianhu was berating everyone, a beam of light descended into King Valley, startling everyone. Who are you, Senior Zi Tianhu? How have you been? The young man was dressed in a silver robe and looked extraordinarily handsome. He walked into the hall with a smile on his face. Lin Chen? Hey, it's you. Everyone was shocked, but soon after, they beamed with joy. Zi Tianhu even strode forward and gave Lin Chen a bear hug as he laughed heartily. I haven't heard from you for half a year. Did you go into seclusion? Lin Chen didn't deny it. You can say that. I'm here to help the Violet Cloud King Valley. As soon as he finished speaking, the handsome man in the green robe and the beautiful woman seemed to have thought of something when they saw Lin Chen arrive. Lin Chen, a few days ago, 23 monstrous geniuses died at the same time in the mystic territory. Could it be, Everyone's lips trembled as they looked at Lin Chen. He smiled innocently like a child and said casually, "Yes, I asked someone to forge a few sacred artifacts. Those monstrous geniuses were all killed by me." The hall was silent. Monster. It was already outrageous enough to kill one monstrous genius. Now that he had killed 23 of them, he could still talk and laugh so casually? Zitianhu looked at Lin Chen deeply. He realized that Lin Chen's aura was very different when he faced them. If the Lin Chen of the past was neither servile nor overbearing when facing them, he would be unfazed. The current Lin Chen, on the other hand, was relaxed and relaxed. Every single movement he made was filled with absolute confidence. The former was more like a junior facing a senior, but the latter was more like a peer. In other words, Lin Chen's aura showed that he was treating everyone on the same level. There was no difference between the two sides. How is this possible? Could it be that this little guy's strength surpasses ours? It's only been half a year. What exactly has he experienced? It's definitely not closed-door cultivation. It's impossible for such an earth-shattering change to occur in closed-door cultivation. Especially the little girl beside him. Why do I feel an inexplicable palpitation when I look at her, but I don't feel the slightest bit of palpitation? While Zi Tianhu was shocked, a handsome middle-aged man with sword-like eyebrows and starry eyes walked over from behind him. He was dressed in a purple-gold robe and was extraordinarily handsome. His face seemed to be in his 30s, and his temperament was like a dragon among men. He cupped his fists at Lin Chen and said, "You are Lin Chen, right? I am Qingwu's father, Zi Mingyue." Zi Mingyue was very sincere. Lin Chen's expression changed, and he was especially serious. "Uncle Mingyue, what's the situation with the little demoness?" Zi Mingyue sighed and invited Lin Chen to take a seat. The two of them sat down, and everyone stood in the hall. Zi Mingyue revealed a reminiscing look and said seriously and sadly, "Back then, a traitor appeared in the Purple Cloud King Valley, causing great damage to the King Valley's vitality. In order to unite with other forces to restore the King Valley, the elders of the King Valley decided to marry me and Qing Wu's mother. However, this was also the beginning of karma. Qingwu's mother was very powerful. Although we borrowed the power of her family and allowed the Purple Cloud King Valley to gain a foothold in the heavenly sanctuary, what we were worried about still happened. Their family wanted to gradually erode the Purple Cloud King Valley and make our elders turn to their side and tilt our resources. They even wanted to merge with the Purple Cloud King Valley and become a subsidiary force of their family. The ancestors of the King Valley noticed the abnormality and broke off relations between the two sides. However, before the two sides could completely start a conflict, Qingwu arrived. Her astonishing potential and talent gave her family hope. However, because she was born in the King Valley, her lifeline and potential were very suitable for the Purple Cloud Radiant Moon secret realm in the valley. Therefore, the other party did not completely fall out with her. Instead, they left Qingwu in the Purple Cloud King Valley. Even Qingwu's surname was her mother's. It was precisely because she felt the pressure from before that Qingwu had been cultivating harder than ever. However, just a few days ago they wanted us to hand over Qingwu. If we didn't hand her over, they would attack the valley and bring a large number of life and death realm and star realm experts. There were even many sacred heart realm experts. Zi Mingyue sighed deeply, as if she had aged a lot. Chapter 1394. Zi Mingyue was heartbroken, and her expression was helpless and pained. In order to protect the King Valley, Qingwu broke off the relationship between the two sides and followed her mother back. This time, I'm afraid it has something to do with the Stairway Tournament. That woman might be determined to betroth Qingwu to one of the candidates to win the Stairway Tournament. Lin Chen listened to the whole story expressionlessly and only asked one question. What did that little vixen say? Is she willing to marry? Zi Mingyue was stunned. Zetianhu walked up and said indignantly. That girl likes freedom and is born to play. How could she be willing to agree to such a thing? Everything is for the Purple Cloud King Valley. Rumble. A killing intent that pierced through the 9 heavens and 10 earths erupted, alarming all the top powerhouses of the Purple Cloud King Valley. Lin Chun stood up and clenched his fist. Then let's go to the Heavenly Sanctuary region and snatch her back. The Heavenly Sanctuary region gathered many top forces and occupied nearly a quarter of the sacred boundary. The famous Stairway Tournament of the Monster Genius List was also held in the Heavenly Sanctuary region. The Stairway Tournament was a competition for the spots of the Monster Genius List that was held once every 100 years. The Outer Stairway Tournament was mainly a competition for the Monster Genius List ranked after 5,000. As for the Inner Stairway Tournament, it was a competition between the super monsters ranked between 2,000 and 5,000 on the Monster Genius List. It was a grand event that all forces paid attention to. To put it bluntly, the Stairway Tournament of the Monster Genius List was a grand event that the various regions of the Sacred Boundary could not afford to miss. It was one of the few major events that would change the spots of the Monster Genius List. The geniuses of the new era would be born here. Everyone who stood out in the Inner Circle's Heavenly Stairway Tournament was a monster among monsters. Many famous people in history were born here. In a secret room in the Flying Dragon City of the 100,000 Dragon City, 3 sage-like old men held horsetail whisks in their hands. Their eyes seemed to flash with divine light as they sent a wisp of saint power into the vast, spinning astrolabe in the void. The astrolabe was dreamy and illusory. It was like a silent constellation, shining with a trace of light that eventually flickered. The 3 old men's faces gradually turned pale. When they finally stopped, they heaved a sigh of relief. "Seniors, how is the situation?" A slender and beautiful figure appeared in the void, smiling lazily and seductively. The 3 old men clasped their fists. "Madam, there are no abnormalities. The Heavenly Stairway competition can be held safely." These 3 old men were the famous saint-level great fortune tellers of the Sacred Boundary. Every time the Stairway Tournament was held, there had to be absolute power and protection to ensure the safety of the Stairway Tournament. This time it was the same. The 3 grand fortune-tellers would deduce the heavenly secrets and predict the future to ensure that there would be no accidents during the Stairway to Heaven competition. After all, no mistakes were allowed in such a grand event. With the 3 great fortune-tellers working together, even if there was a heaven-opening realm that wanted to interfere with the competition, there would still be traces left behind. "Yes, thank you for your trouble. That's right, the Yi clan requests an audience. I'll have to trouble you all to make a small deduction again." The beautiful figure giggled. A beautiful figure and 2 black-robed figures entered the secret chamber and sat down. The beautiful woman in the lead spoke coldly. "Yi family's Yi Lishua. Would the 3 masters please help us calculate whether there will be any unexpected occurrences on our Yi family's big day in 10 days? Yi Lishua? Oh, I didn't expect it to be Madame Yi Lishua." The 3 old men were very surprised by this rare guest. The 2 black-robed figures respectfully took out 3 storage rings and placed them on the table. The cold and arrogant beautiful woman pushed the storage rings in front of the 3 old men and said indifferently, "This is the reward." The 3 old men took a look and their expressions changed slightly. They originally wanted to refuse righteously. However, the other party had given them too much. "Since that's the case, let's do it again." The 3 old men coughed lightly and performed their divination again. With the Yi clan as the main force, they deduced the heavenly secret. After a moment, a dazzling purple light shone in the secret chamber. The 3 old men exclaimed. Even Yi Lishue couldn't help but frown slightly. Purple chi from the east, showing off its ability. This is the phenomenon of the Purple Cloud King Valley. It seems that the Purple Cloud King Valley will interfere with Madame's happy event. This interference is enough to stop the event. If we don't stop it, something big will happen. Impossible. The coldness between Yi Lishue's brows was enough to kill. Purple Cloud King Valley? Yi Lishue was very clear about their background. Unless they turned out in full force and wanted to fight to the death with them, it wouldn't be enough to completely shake the Yi clan. The Purple Cloud King Valley has the ability to shake the Yi clan? Impossible. If that was the case, they wouldn't have to hand over Qingwu that day. Yi Lishue thought for a while and finally stood up and said coldly, "I understand. Thank you for your trouble." With a twist of her slender waist, Yi Lishue left. The coldness between her brows seemed to be enough to freeze everything. No matter who the Purple Cloud King Valley invited, they won't be able to stop the Yi clan's grand plan. 7 days later, Flying Dragon City of the Heavenly Sacred Region. With the arrival of thousands of countries, all the 7th-ranked sects gathered together. 8th-ranked giants from the various regions of the Sacred Boundary appeared in the Flying Dragon City. Below the Flying Dragon City, a few saints who managed to get a spot to watch the event would occasionally exclaim in surprise at the group flying across the sky. "What kind of group is that? Oh my God, 300 sword saints! To be able to do this, it must be the sword domain. Even the sword domain is here. Look, the Thousand Flames Palace of the Yen region is here too. So many 8th-ranked great sects, how terrifying!" Rumble. A divine flame descended from the sky as 14 seemingly invincible figures walked out from the divine flame pillar. 7 females and 7 males. The females were all beautiful and varied in their looks, but all of them were 1 in a billion. The males had an imposing appearance and a heroic aura, as if they were untainted by the mortal world. They were extremely handsome and domineering to the point that others didn't dare to look directly at them. The Godly Flame Palace. The peerless geniuses of the Godly Flame Palace. So terrifying, this is the former legend of the Godly Flame Palace. I heard that the Godly Flame Palace has already sent out a few Saint Talents ranking characters. I'm afraid that the ones they sent out this time are only the youngest ones. The Godly Flame Palace is participating in this year's Heavenly Stairway competition. Oh my God, the other monstrous geniuses will be suppressed by them. The moment the monstrous geniuses of the Godly Flame Palace appeared, their aura suppressed everyone present. It was as if they were born with superior numbers. They didn't even look at the mortal sages as they rushed straight into the Void Island in the depths of the Flying Dragon City. The Flying Dragon City was extremely lively, and the neighboring Wulong City was filled with cheers. Inside an ancient pagoda there were all sorts of scenes and dazzling flowers. However, without exception, the endless sounds of explosions were nerve-wracking and shocking. The Tongtian Pagoda contained many high-level secret realms. The secret realms were extremely powerful and could stimulate the potential of the sages to increase their spiritual senses and instantaneous speed, helping them expand their acupoints. Only the monstrous geniuses of the demon ranking and a few 8th-ranked sects were qualified to enter this pagoda. At this moment, the Tongtian Pagoda was filled with cheers and shouts. Young Master Su Qing from the Elixir region has expanded his acupoints to 31 times. It's not over yet, 32 times. No, Miss Hua Feiyu from the 1000 region has expanded her acupoints to 36 times. Damn, she's too strong. The foundation of a top 7th-ranked sect is indeed strong. The crowd was excited and everyone was watching. This place was one of the best places for the monstrous geniuses to expand their acupoints. As the Heavenly Stairway competition neared, many monstrous geniuses were also well prepared and participated in this explosive expansion of their acupoints, dazzling countless experts. The Heavenly Sanctuary was filled with excitement at all times. This was the central stage of the Sacred Boundary. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.